Fierce Lord. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 101 Busy. Mr. Mike, the Lord wishes to see you. A first-level alchemist, Mike, training in the Mage Tower, was awakened by the voice of the tower spirit. Hearing it was the Lord's summons, he immediately ended his training, packed his belongings, and headed outside, where a young clerk was waiting. Mr. Mike, the Lord wishes to see you. I will lead the way, the clerk said respectfully. Mike usually wore a cold expression. He was accommodating to those of his same rank, but for the clerk, a non-clerk, he simply nodded, signaling the clerk to lead the way. The clerk led the way, and Mike followed, wondering why the Lord had summoned him. After walking for several minutes, Mike finally saw the mid-level alchemy workshop ahead, and his expression gave way to surprise. When did a mid-level alchemy workshop appear in the city? The appearance of a mage tower in a first-level town had boosted Mike's loyalty, and now the arrival of a mid-level alchemy workshop had boosted his loyalty even more. Mike had come to realize that under the Lord's leadership, the territory would continue to develop rapidly and hold a promising future. Just as Mike was about to reach the alchemy workshop, Zhao Yi emerged, having finished his curiosity. Mike excitedly saluted Zhao Yi. Mike, I have an important task for you. This intermediate alchemy workshop is temporarily under your care. 2 apprentices will be arriving soon. I'll be sending personnel to Rhoda City in the next 2 days to recruit first-level alchemists and apprentices. I need you to get the alchemy workshop up and running and produce the primary explosive arrows and black iron grade equipment that the territory urgently needs. Listening to the Lord's words, Mike realized that his thoughts had come true. Entrusting such a vital alchemy workshop to a first-level alchemist like him was a testament to the Lord's trust in him. Lord, Mike promises to complete the task. Zhao Yi nodded and said, very good. Lead your team to familiarize themselves with the alchemy workshop as quickly as possible and begin production as soon as possible. Report any needs directly to the market for procurement. Yes. After handing the alchemy workshop over to Mike, Zhao Yi left. There were still many things to complete. Next, Zhao Yi set his sights on his card pack. The platinum card, Tree of Life seed, including the treasure chest he opened this morning. Zhao Yi now had over 10 level 1 advancement stones. It was time to plant the Tree of Life seeds. The Tree of Life's growth cycle was too long, with each stage taking thousands of years to reach its peak. Furthermore, the seed stage at level 0 offered no benefits to Zhao Yi. However, he could now use 10 advancement stones of the same level to accelerate the Tree of Life's growth. Once it reached level 1, the Tree of Life would already provide some benefits, such as Water of Life and accelerated plant growth in the surrounding area. As the Tree of Life continued to grow, its Water of Life production would increase, and it would also provide precious branches and leaves, even offering protection against the forces of death. Where should I plant the Tree of Life? Zhao Yi was stuck in a dilemma. After much deliberation, his own yard seemed the most suitable place for it. However, Zhao Yi had already ordered the construction of a new Lord's mansion, and the Tree of Life should be planted there. It seemed that the planting of the Tree of Life would have to wait a little longer. It shouldn't take long, just 2 days. With so many earth mages present, even a large and magnificent mansion could be initially constructed in 2 days. Then came the interior decoration. Putting the tree planting aside, he moved on to the next task. He kept busy until noon, only taking a break after lunch. As a second-level professional, he could withstand days without sleep. It could be said that Zhao Yi was taking a break from his busy schedule. Even during his downtime, he would check the forum to gather useful information. Half a day had passed since Zhao Yiling and Cheng Jinling were officially promoted to third-class earldoms, and many players were still discussing the matter. Speculations abounded about Zhao Yiling's specific situation, Cheng Jinling's future growth rate, and the timing of other top-ranked territories being promoted to third-class earldoms. Thanks to the points earned from slaying undead last night, Cheng Jinling, previously relegated to third place in the rankings, has returned to first place. His promotion to third-class earldom has made Cheng Jinling irreplaceable to the Chen state officials, and their support for him will only increase, enabling him to recover and even improve rapidly. However, Chen state officials will also need to increase their support for other important territories. With Chang Jinling's experience as a third-class earldom, they'll have a better understanding of the situation and, once other territories have reached sufficient strength, they can readily choose to promote them. As for Zhao Yi, one of only 2 third-class earldoms among Blue Star players, he hasn't even cracked the top 10 on the territory combat power ranking, currently remaining in 12th place. This demonstrates the significant proportion of combat class players in the player territories ahead of Zhao Yi. There's no official announcement yet regarding the promotion of a third-class earldom. The territories at the top of the leaderboard need to build up their strength, ideally with losses smaller than those suffered by Chang Jinling during his promotion. Zhao Yi was still browsing the forum when Joanna, accompanied by a team of Earth Mages, arrived at the Lord's mansion, seeking a meeting. Seeing the blueprints the Earth Mages held, Zhao Yi understood their purpose. "Lord, please select the design for the new mansion." Joanna was the first to speak. "Oh, then," she said. "Let's take a look." As Zhao Yi finished speaking, the Earth Mages rushed to claim first place and present their drawings to the Lord. However, in front of the Lord, they dared not act presumptuously. Speed was paramount in the race for first place. The first Earth Mage handed over his blueprint, and the others followed suit. The last Earth Mage, however, felt a wave of disdain. "What's the point of being ranked first? It all depends on whether the Lord likes it. If he doesn't, it doesn't matter if he's ranked first. If he does, he'll be chosen last." Zhao Yi patiently looked through the drawings submitted by the Earth Mages, and there were quite a few that Zhao Yi liked. Seeing the changes in the Lord's expression, the Earth Mages' hearts raced with emotion. They all hoped to design and build a new Lord's mansion. What an honor it would be for the Lord to live in a mansion they designed and built. Zhao Yi searched and searched, finally selecting 3 drawings. The designers of these 3 drawings were filled with excitement and trepidation. After all, only one could be chosen, while the other unsuccessful Earth Mages would be left to watch. Zhao Yi himself was unsure which one to choose. After a moment's hesitation, he handed the selection to Joanna. "I like the house styles on these 3 drawings, but I'm not sure which one to choose. How about you, Joanna? Help me pick one." "Me?" Joanna was a little surprised. This was clearly the Lord's residence, so why did she have to make the final choice? Seeing that the Lord and the 3 Earth Mages were all looking at her, Joanna had no choice but to carefully examine the 3 drawings on the table. After spending dozens of seconds, she chose the one she liked best. "Okay, this is it." Chapter 102, Effort. The design of the new mansion has been finalized. Its location, to the north of the existing one, will cover approximately 2,000 square meters. Construction will begin today, and occupancy will be available in 3 days at most. While the 2,000 square meter mansion appears large, it's actually quite modest. Initially, a third-level village occupied 10,000 square meters, with a mansion occupying over 200 square meters. Now, with Zhao City occupying 1 million square meters, the proportion of the mansion's floor space has actually decreased significantly. It's even smaller than the residence of a third-class earl. Upon learning of the new mansion's construction, the steward, Jim, approached Zhao Yi. The larger mansion would require more servants. Zhao Yi waved his hand, instructing Jim to hire as needed, but not too many, so as not to leave 3 people doing the work of 2. Currently, professionals make up between 1/8 and 1/9 of the total population in the territory, and professional households now outnumber non-professional households. However, professional families will not accept manual labor from the territory, instead leaving it to commoners. Many professional families also employ commoners as servants. Civilian labor is a crucial resource for a territory. Given the current population ratio, the Lord's mansion can't afford to occupy too much of it. As the professionals grow, their proportion will decrease. 1/10 is a more moderate ratio. After lunch, Zhao Yi inspected the city walls. Xiaocheng's first line of defense had already been built, constructed using ordinary magic metal fencing. 12 modular platforms also stood on all 4 sides of the first line. Xiaocheng still needed 4 lines of defense. The 4th line was under construction, a significant undertaking, but expected to be completed before nightfall. It would also utilize magic metal fencing. All 4 lines of defense would consist of metal fencing. The replaced ordinary metal fencing would remain in use, but would continue to be used. The defenses of the affiliated towns and villages would continue to use ordinary metal fencing. After all, the pressure in the affiliated towns and villages at night wasn't as great as in Xiaocheng. Among the incoming undead hordes were 3rd-level undead. Every battle had to be fought with utmost care. Negligence could easily lead to heavy casualties. Construction is underway on the roads connecting Zhaochang to the 3 planned annexed towns, with earth mages taking shifts. Previously, the roads were village level, barely accommodating 2 carriages abreast. The town-level roads now under construction can accommodate 4. In the future, these town-level roads may be upgraded to become the territory's main arterial roads, capable of accommodating at least 6 carriages abreast. Teleportation arrays are convenient for professionals with sufficient financial resources. For those with less, professionals and civilians still have to walk or ride carriages to travel between locations, so roads are essential. The 3 town-level roads total over 30 kilometers. Thanks to the Earth Mage's hard work, they should be completed by mid-afternoon at the latest, allowing for preliminary construction to begin at the 3 pre-selected towns. By tomorrow, 3 first-level villages will be built, and sufficient populations will have been relocated there. These 3 first-level villages require a population of 3,600, or approximately 800 households. Zhaochang will also need an additional 4,000 people, or approximately 900 households, by tomorrow, totaling 1,700 households. The 1,000 civilian recruitment scroll still can't be used. To use it, you'll need 1,000 professional households, exceeding the required 300 households. Another thing to consider is that the points earned from destroying the undead tonight won't be comparable to yesterday's, estimated to be around 500,000. Recruiting 1,000 professionals with 500,000 points is possible, but they'll primarily be Tier 0 professionals. There won't be many Tier 1 professionals, let alone Tier 2 professionals. Having so many Tier 0 professionals suddenly puts the territory at a greater disadvantage against the incoming undead hordes. There's a solution, however. The card pack also includes professional recruitment scrolls like 100 Tier 1 Heavy Cavalry Recruitment Scroll, 100 Tier 0 Lancer Recruitment Scroll, and 100 Tier 0 Archer Recruitment Scroll. Using these scrolls will take up the professional recruitment quota and save a significant amount of points, especially the 100 Tier 1 Heavy Cavalry Recruitment Scroll, which is worth 500,000 points. Tomorrow's recruitment needs careful consideration, and will require the advice of Cease and Elliot. The card pack contains numerous recruitment scrolls, as well as 3 teleportation arrays, 2 micro-teleportation arrays and 1 small teleportation array. The gold card, small teleportation array, has 2 array bases, the same level as Zhaochang's. You can choose to place these 2 array bases in 2 affiliated towns, facilitating information transfer and the movement of important personnel between the 2 locations, and even facilitating recruitment. As Lord, Zhao Yi can recruit personnel directly from the city with the lowest level small teleportation array. After careful consideration, Zhao Yi decided against this option. He only had 1 small teleportation array, and once it was installed, it couldn't be completely dismantled. Forced dismantling would only yield some materials. The 3 affiliated towns are relatively close to the main city, so it would be better to build further cities and then install teleportation arrays there. He could also place the 2 extra primary markets there, using them as alchemical artifacts, allowing for flexible deployment. Because the market required high tolls, it was usually used only for information transfers, with supplies only being delivered in emergencies. As the territory expanded, the importance of cavalry grew. If a town suffered an emergency and there were no teleportation arrays, only cavalry could quickly provide support. Zhao Yi noted in his notebook the daily recruitment process, noting the increased proportion of knights, the need for archers, and the indispensable role of heavy cavalry. Daily recruitment was the territory's most important task, and the one Zhao Yi labored over most. He had to carefully plan the number of professional and non-professional recruits, as well as the number of combat classes. The territory's army had varying requirements for different classes. To defend against the nightly undead hordes, archers, shield warriors, and lancers were the most needed, while swordsmen and heavy cavalry were the least needed. Over the past 10 days, the proportions of each class in the recruitment of professional soldiers had been largely based on the standard company structure. After all, the territory's army was constantly undergoing reorganization, and this ratio was optimal. A significant deviation from the standard company structure would cause significant difficulties in reorganizing the professional soldiers. Zhao Yi pounded his forehead with his hand, his head aching from thinking. The territory was getting bigger and bigger, and the population was increasing. Zhao Yi felt deeply that he was incapable. Zhao Yi could not take on the positions of both Cece and Elliot. Fortunately, he was a lord and had subordinates to do things. Except for Cece and Elliot, everyone else was growing rapidly, especially several officials with 3-star management talents. It wouldn't be long before new people would join the meetings every morning. For the time being, there was only one 3-star command talent, Elliot, in the army, and it could still be maintained. After all, the army had only 3,500 soldiers. If it exceeded 10,000, one Elliot would not be enough. I really want the day to come sooner, so that my subordinates can handle everything with just a few words. Zhao Yi only needs to decide some important things and does not need to overwork. New plot is coming soon. Chapter 103 Talent Stone. My lord, the number of incoming undead exceeds 5,000, primarily skeletons, interspersed with nearly 100 ghosts. There are no more than 30 second-tier undead, and no more than 300 first-tier undead. No liches have been detected, a second-tier assassin reported the undead army to Zhao Yi. Zhao Yi and Elliot frowned after hearing the assassin's report. The undead attacking tonight looked weak. Where were the liches? Could it be that the continuous deaths of liches have deterred them from approaching? Or perhaps the liches are ambushing with a group of elite undead. Counting only the undead army discovered so far, there's quantity but no quality. Even in the first wave last night, 1/10 of the undead were first-tier undead, and 1/100th were second-tier undead. The third wave would even exceed this proportion, with even third-tier undead present. If this were truly the only undead attacking tonight, it would feel like a bunch of cannon fodder being sent in under the rules to fool Zhao Yi. Maintaining vigilance for possible liches and elite undead units, the battle officially commenced with the arrival of the undead horde. Faced with the initial wave of attacks from the human archers, the undead charged frantically towards Xiaocheng, seemingly without the lich's command. The chaotic charge of the undead, no matter how numerous, proved relatively easy to deal with, especially since Xiaocheng's defenses had been replaced with enchanted metal fences, effectively blocking even first-tier undead. The battle followed the same pattern as every night. Second-tier archers dealt with second-tier undead, first-tier archers with first-tier undead, and zero-tier archers eliminated the skeleton archers and the undead horde. Mages and priests dealt with the incoming ghosts, leaving the remaining undead to the warriors. The battle, pitting nearly 2,000 human professionals against over 5,000 undead, ultimately concluded in less than half an hour. 2 humans were killed, a zero-tier heavy cavalryman and a zero-tier spearman, and nearly 100 were injured. From the beginning to the end of the battle, the possible liches and elite undead troops failed to appear. Perhaps they were hiding somewhere, hoping to deliver a fatal blow to Xiaocheng. To allow the soldiers defending Xiaocheng adequate rest, the assassins needed to remain lurking outside, reporting back immediately if they spotted any danger. This wait lasted all night. Staring at the light screen before him, Zhao Yi was speechless. It seemed the liches had truly not arrived. Liches, retaining their former wisdom, were truly formidable. When commanding the undead army, their power doubled. When the undead army was about to be defeated, the liches would flee. The more liches died in the front, the fewer liches would arrive. But this was a good thing. Without a lich to lead the undead army, it was easier to deal with. Last night, the undead slain on the battlefield of Xiaocheng exceeded the number of undead in the final wave of the Ascension War. With such a large number, casualties on our side were inevitable. Had a lich been in command, and if the lich hadn't been quickly eliminated, the human side would have suffered far more than just the loss of 2 soldiers. Because of the 2 soldiers' deaths, Zhao Yi felt like there were only 1 or 2 platinum cards in the platinum chest he obtained today. You won 10 battles, you destroyed 9. 834 undead, you lost 2 soldiers, battle rating B in Zhao Town, D in Tishi Village, points increased by 63.6%, professional experience increased by 63.6%, received 1 platinum chest and 9 silver chests, from an A rating down to a B rating, my points and professional bonuses have decreased again. I wonder when I'll be able to surpass the 96% I received the day before yesterday. He opened the platinum chest and took a look. As Zhao Yi had expected, if no soldiers had died, there should have been 4 platinum cards in it, but now there are only 2. Select 1 platinum card, platinum bow. Select 3 gold cards, 1 star talent stone, first level assassin recruitment scroll 15, and primary life potion 100. Select 2 silver cards, a level 3 advancement stone, and a level 2 heavy cavalry recruitment scroll. This was the first time Zhao Yi had seen a talent stone, and he didn't seem to have seen any mention of it in the forums. Players don't possess talents, advancement relies solely on advancement stones. However, talent is crucial to the natives, determining a person's fate. Talent stones can enhance a native's talents, specifically those related to the physical body, such as combat classes like warriors, archers, assassins, mages, and priests. Talents like management, business, and leadership, which are more focused on the mindset, can't be altered by talent stones. Some non-professionals possess 5-star leadership and management talents, but on the origin continent, where the strong reign, no matter how high these talents are, they remain mere commoners, with little chance of becoming officials or officers. Even merchants, no matter how talented they are, can't protect their wealth without real strength. A 1-star talent stone can raise a native's sporadic combat class talents to 1 star. It might seem useless, as no lord would be willing to grant a civilian a combat class talent upgrade. However, Zhao Yi felt that this talent stone, even at a single star, would fetch a high price in the market. If a couple were both professionals, their children would have a significantly higher chance of possessing a particular class talent. However, children of high-ranking professionals lacked combat talent, and no amount of training resources would significantly improve their abilities. High-ranking professionals, however, doted on their children without combat talent, would undoubtedly rush to acquire such a divine item that could enhance combat talent. The fact that the talent stone could fetch a profit was a plus. Zhao Yi reasoned that if a single-star talent stone appeared now, he would likely draw even better ones later. Joanna and Elliot both had 3-star combat class talents, with 4-star and 5-star talents above them. Zhao Yi already had Ignaz, a 4-star space mage, under his command, and more 4-star and even 5-star talents would join him in the future. Their importance within his fold would steadily decline. It had been Zhao Yi's 31st day on the origin continent. Joanna had joined the territory on the 4th, and Elliot on the 9th. The two have been with Zhao Yi for so long, and people always miss the past. He hopes that the two can always stay by his side and not drift away from him because of their lack of talent. The appearance of the talent stone gave Zhao Yi hope. If he could draw a 4-star talent stone or even a 5-star talent stone in the future, and improve the combat talents of the two, they would always be by his side, and together they would witness the continuous growth of the territory. However, the level of this talent stone seemed very high. 1-star talent stones appeared in gold cards, 2-star talent stones appeared in platinum cards, 3-star talent stones appeared in crystal cards, and 4-star talent stones appeared in higher level cards. It was the first time to draw a 1-star talent stone, which showed that it was a very rare item. It was not easy to obtain a crystal treasure chest, and it was even more difficult to obtain a higher level treasure chest. It was extremely difficult to draw a 4-star talent stone, but there was hope after all. Chapter 104 Cloud of Disaster. After opening the platinum chests, he moved on to the silver chests. Just as Zhao Yi was opening his 4th silver chest, Elliot arrived outside the tent. "Lord, what's wrong, Elliot? Lord, look at the sky. Something's not right today." Zhao Yi stood up and walked outside, looking up at the dark sky. He, too, sensed something was amiss. Compared to the previous rainy days, the sky was even darker now, as if night was about to fall. The dark clouds gave off a strong sense of oppression. "Lord, this could be a cloud of disaster." Joanna, approaching Zhao Yi and Elliot, had a solemn expression on her face. She made a terrifying guess about the dark clouds in the sky. Upon hearing Joanna's guess, before Zhao Yi could react, Elliot's expression darkened. A cloud of disaster, a thing that instilled utter fear in the creatures of the origin continent. The sun in the game world shines a purifying light, known as holy light by priests. Even dark clouds in rainy weather only slightly weaken the sunlight's purifying power, leaving low-level undead unable to withstand it. Therefore, during the day, the undead are rarely seen, hiding in cemeteries. If undead are seen, they are mostly mid-level or high-level, resistant to sunlight's purification. Only at night, without the purifying power of sunlight, do the undead emerge in droves, attacking living beings and annihilating them. However, this is only the majority of cases. In rare cases, the undead can also emerge during the day. The clouds of doom created by the spells cast by high-level undead can almost completely block the purifying power of sunlight. With the clouds of doom covering the sky, the undead can roam freely across the origin continent even during the day. Crucially, The high-level undead have gone to great lengths to cover the sky with clouds of doom, clearly signaling a major move. Certain rules of the origin continent remained unchanged before and after the arrival of Blue Star players. Every night, large numbers of undead attack gathering places. An attack of this magnitude would be difficult to breach a human city. Civilians on the origin continent can reproduce a generation every 20 years at most, and 100 years would mean at least 5 generations. For the past millennia, society on the origin continent has remained relatively stable, maintaining a population of tens of billions a millennium ago and continuing to do so a millennium later. Too many people, unable to feed them, led to starvation. Over the past millennia, trillions of humans have perished. Even though the vast majority were amateurs in their lifetime, upon death, they are transformed into level 0 undead. Besides humans, there are also ordinary animals and even magical beasts. The total number of the undead is unimaginably astronomical. While the undead are numerous, they cannot continue to consume them daily without effectively destroying the creatures on the origin continent. Consuming tens of billions a day, hundreds of billions a year, would not eliminate many, and eventually, the creatures would emerge victorious. Therefore, the nightly undead attacks on the gathering places of the living are orchestrated by the undead high command. The fatigue tactic involves continuous, uninterrupted attacks day after day. If they can break through a human city, ideally. If they can't, the humans must tire themselves out. When humans tire, the undead will mobilize in force, unleashing more and stronger undead to crush the human city in one fell swoop. The fatigue tactic is a change made by the undead leadership when faced with a stalemate. Every time the clouds of doom cover the sky, a human city will be annihilated by the undead horde. Crucially, with the appearance of the clouds of doom, all teleportation arrays on the origin continent become inoperable. These arrays connect the indigenous cities, and their inoperability means that these cities are isolated and left to fend off the undead hordes on their own. Of course, there are ways to provide support, such as space mages teleporting troops, airships delivering reinforcements, air cavalry, and land cavalry. However, the lack of the most convenient teleportation arrays often prevents timely rescue. Now, for the Blue Star players who have descended on the origin continent, this will be their first encounter with a massive undead attack. Countless undead will attack human cities day and night, attacking human cities one after another, until the human city was breached, or the high-level undead voluntarily withdrew the scourge cloud. Listening to Elliot and Joanna's story, Zhao Yi recalled a related post he had seen on the forum, and his expression darkened. It turned out the previous 30 days had been the beginner's period for Blue Star players. Today, the beginner's period officially ended, and a more difficult test began. The sky was now covered by the scourge cloud, and there was no telling when the undead would attack Zhao Yi's territory's main city and 9 affiliated villages. Until the scourge cloud dissipated, all professionals must hold the line. Faced with the unpredictable arrival of the undead horde, Zhao Yi sprang into action. He first summoned 9 groups of light cavalry and ordered them to the 9 affiliated villages, demanding that the garrisons in each village prepare for battle. He considered going to the market to purchase supplies and recruit personnel, but then realized the teleportation array was currently unusable, meaning neither purchases nor recruitment were possible. He had money, but it was useless. If the territory were closer to the indigenous cities, there might still be time to splurge on military supplies. Once the undead hordes arrived, the indigenous cities wouldn't let anyone in. Zhao Yi couldn't help but feel a sense of relief. Due to a sense of crisis, the main city and its affiliated villages had more military supplies, allowing them to hold out longer than other player territories. While they couldn't continue recruiting with points, they could redeem them for various supplies, giving some Lord players some hope. Even if exchanging points for supplies wasn't worth it, they still had to continue to defend their territories. Feeling that the 9 affiliated villages in the territory were insufficient to withstand the impending undead horde, Zhao Yi and Elliot discussed the possibility of transferring personnel from the main city to support the 9 villages. This support would consist of archers, 3 first-tier archers and 6 zero-tier archers per team, each supporting 1 village. The archers' families would remain in Zhao City, a burden practically negligible given Zhao City's strength. However, they couldn't transfer second-tier archers to the affiliated villages. None of the 9 affiliated villages possess any second-tier professionals. If they did, the incoming undead hordes would undoubtedly include them. This is a rule players have mastered. This rule has its own origins. Among the indigenous people of the origin continent are powerful individuals, and among the undead, There are also powerful individuals. The powerful confront each other and reach an agreement not to attack lower-tier undead. If they dare, their higher-tier counterparts will react without restraint. Therefore, the undead hordes players face in their territories are typically only one tier higher. However, during a territorial advancement battle, this rule might change. For example, if an undead, driven by anger, attacks personally. Before the undead attack, 81 archers immediately set off on horseback. They should be able to reach the affiliated villages they are supporting before the undead army launches its attack. The assassins must also be mobilized. If a major war breaks out, only assassins will be able to travel between the main city and the affiliated villages. Only in emergencies can light cavalry be dispatched to the main city for assistance. At that time, the main city will need to dispatch cavalry to support the affected affiliated villages. Chapter 105 The War is Coming. At this moment, the players on the forum were in a frenzy. Facing the impending undead horde, even more powerful than the one during the territory promotion war, the tide was filled with despair. Many, forgetting the forum rules, posted insults and curses, causing their posts to fail and resulting in system bans. Most lords of player territories teetering on the brink of destruction had abandoned their territories and fled, daunted by even territory promotion, let alone the impending disaster. Before the undead hordes appeared, they quickly fled to indigenous cities or to more powerful nearby player territories. With the teleportation arrays disabled, their options were limited. No Blue Star player could have anticipated the suddenness of this catastrophe. Many players had heard of these regular disasters on the origin continent through the indigenous people. Even Zhao Yi had read related posts on the forum, only to quickly forget them. According to the indigenous people, the next disaster was still a long time away. The Blue Star players, who had only been on the origin continent for a few dozen days, simply didn't care how much longer it would take. In reality, the indigenous people of the origin continent hadn't anticipated the new disaster coming so soon. A quick guess by the indigenous leaders revealed that the early arrival of the disaster was undoubtedly due to the arrival of the otherworldly heroes. With a sudden influx of hundreds of millions of weaker territories on the origin continent, tens of billions of undead cannon fodder were being consumed daily. If this continued, the undead would be unable to withstand it. The otherworldly heroes were still weak, so the disaster was launched prematurely to eliminate as many of them as possible. Conversely, the indigenous cities hadn't been significantly weakened, and their combat power hadn't declined much, so very few would be destroyed by the disaster. It's over. There's nowhere to escape. We can only defend the main city of the territory. It won't be long before I die and return to Blue Star. It's a pity that I'm only level 13. Returning to Blue Star can only add 13 years to my lifespan. If I could reach level 20, all my physical ailments would be gone. I don't believe this is a situation where we're doomed. Our player territory has a small population and is weak. No matter how strong the incoming undead army is, it won't be ridiculously strong. There is definitely a chance to survive this disaster. Everyone, don't give up. Lucky Sun 413 is really lucky. He has been promoted to 3rd-class earldom, and his territory is even stronger. After this disaster, even if other territories can survive the disaster, they will suffer heavy losses and will not be able to be promoted to 3rd-class earldom in a short period of time. The gap is getting bigger and bigger. There are only 2 3rd-class earldoms, and the lords are both from Chen. The players of Chen are really too strong. Fortunately, we are in an indigenous city. Indigenous cities are definitely safer than player territories. After this disaster, it will be our time to rise. Among the players on Blue Star, some panicked in the face of the disaster, while others remained calm and composed. Zhao Yi wasn't the only one who felt a sense of crisis after arriving in the game world and facing the ever-changing rules of the game. Furthermore, the territories that player factions focused on cultivating generally had ample reserves of supplies. Conversely, the territories of individual players, who comprised the largest number of players, were struggling with some territories on the brink of collapse, while others were desperately striving for advancement. These player territories had minimal military supplies, barely enough for a single battle. Therefore, faced with a sudden turn of events, these player lords panicked. Facing an even more powerful undead horde, their territories were untenable. Losing their territories meant losing them all. Everyone had to survive and find their own way out. Any player with even a modicum of foresight could see that after this wave of disasters, only a few player lords remained, and the weaker ones would be eliminated. Zhao Yi ignored the debates among the players on the forums, directing his entire territory to actively confront the impending enemy. Military preparations were a top priority, and efforts to appease the people were also underway. This was, after all, a newly established territory. Even though the Lord's leadership had instilled confidence through repeated victories against the undead, many of the subjects remained deeply concerned about the impending disaster. Many even prepared farm tools, ready to join the battle if necessary, using them to defend their homes. This was the benefit of high citizen loyalty. If loyalty were low, some would be tempted to flee the territory, seeking a safer haven. A dark, catastrophic cloud thickened the sky, as if night had fallen once again, even darker than usual, leaving even the most unskilled of the undead unable to see their hands in front of their faces. By now, the undead had completed the preparations for war. It was time to dispatch. Nearly 20 minutes later, a second-level assassin reported a massive undead army approaching Zhaocheng, numbering over 5,000, primarily skeleton soldiers, with over 1,000 skeleton archers and at least 300 ghosts. This represented over 1/10 of the first-level undead, over 1/100th of the second-level undead, and a third-level skeleton commander. Intelligence analysis indicates the impending undead horde is significantly stronger than last night's. However, given the strength of Zhaocheng's defenders, annihilating this wave is no problem. The key lies in what happens after this wave is defeated. Territory advancement battles typically involve 3 waves of undead, and with the disaster, the incoming undead will likely be even greater. However, there's also good news: the undead aren't coming all at once, seemingly in batches. If this is the case, Zhaocheng should be able to hold its own, as long as subsequent waves aren't overly powerful. When Zhao Yi's territory encountered the undead horde, other player territories also encountered them. Seeing the situation, many lords breathed a sigh of relief, believing they could at least withstand this first wave. As long as they could hold their ground, defeating the undead would earn them points. Any supplies they needed could be redeemed immediately from the point store. By fighting to support themselves, they might be able to survive this disaster. On the battlefield of Zhaocheng, as the undead horde approached, 2 flare arrows illuminated the sky and earth, signaling the start of the battle. Zhao Yi, wielding his mana spear, consumed 100 low-grade magic crystals to charge, and then opened fire directly at the lone third-tier skeleton leader in the undead army. The attacked undead, seemingly without a lich's command, charged directly towards Zhaocheng. Seeing this, the pressure on the human side suddenly eased. Nearly half an hour later, after expending a large amount of military supplies, Zhao Yi led the territory's army to successfully annihilate the first wave of undead attacks, without a single casualty. One soldier, critically wounded and near death, was saved by a life potion, while the less seriously injured were healed by a combination of priest and life potions. Priests cannot consume too much mana, they are also a vital force, and the undead are likely to attack in waves. Both priests and mages must conserve their mana. If they run out of mana, they can use mana potions to recover. If they have more time, they can return to the mage tower. An hour after the first wave, a second wave arrived. Still numbering over 5,000, they were all skeletons, with fewer than 1,000 skeleton archers. The ratio of first to second tier undead remained unchanged, with only 1/3 tier skeleton leader. This second wave appeared slightly weaker than the first. However, when the second wave reached approximately 500 meters from Zhaocheng, it did not continue its advance. Instead, it split into 2 groups, attacking the left and right flanks of the city. After reaching either side of Zhaocheng, the 2 groups continued their advance, intent on encircling the city. As the undead army shifted, the human defenders, under the command of Zhao Yi and Elliot, also shifted constantly. However, this shift accelerated the exhaustion of the human professionals. This weaker second wave posed even greater challenges to Zhao Yi than the first. Chapter 106, Choice. The Lich, commanding the undead army from nowhere, was truly remarkable, able to manipulate the undead, who loathed living things, into changing their tactics from such a distance. Over 5,000 undead surrounded Zhao City, and the undead on all sides launched a near-simultaneous charge. Under the blessing of the Wind Mage, the professionals in Zhao City quickly shifted positions in company units, dispersing the large number of professionals previously concentrated on the front line to the other 3 defensive lines. They faced the incoming undead with composure, without a trace of confusion. Zhao Yi speculated that the tactical shifts in the undead army might be the work of a 4th-tier undead. He hoped the rules of the game wouldn't allow undead above the 3rd tier to appear on the battlefield. If he was simply commanding the undead army, that was acceptable. As he pondered this, Zhao Yi fired high-level explosive arrows from his platinum bow to eliminate the 2nd tier undead. The lone 3rd tier skeleton leader in the undead army had already been eliminated by the mana spear. Aim before shooting, and don't waste explosive arrows. We have plenty of time to wipe out the undead. First, take out the skeleton archers, the 1st tier undead, and the 2nd tier undead. Leave the rest to the soldiers. You eat the meat, and the soldiers should have some soup. Don't kill all the undead. Hearing the company commander's command, the soldiers would have burst into laughter if it weren't for the intense fighting. However, his words also emphasized a point. Even though Zhao Cheng had a large reserve of military supplies, they couldn't be wasted and must be used sparingly. After eliminating the threatening units in the undead horde, the soldiers would handle the rest. Against the 0-tier undead, no matter how numerous they were, with a coordination of shield warriors, spearmen, swordsmen, and heavy cavalry, it would be difficult to lose anyone. The 1st and 2nd waves of undead were separated by only an hour. With clouds of disaster looming in the sky, it was uncertain how long this disaster would last or how many waves of undead would arrive. Virtually all player territories were the same, no personnel could be replenished, and the most they could do was exchange points for worthless supplies from the point mall. Even a high points earner like Zhao Yi would find it painful to spend points on supplies in the mall. Under the current circumstances, it's better to conserve military supplies. Once the military supply stockpile reaches a critical point, a batch can be redeemed from the points mall. This isn't just Zhaocheng, the 9 affiliated villages must also be monitored. If a village's military supplies run high, Zhaocheng will need to dispatch assassins or light cavalry equipped with large storage facilities to deliver them. Without reinforcements, it stands to reason that in order to hold out longer, it's better to consume more military supplies and reduce the frequency of melee combat to minimize casualties. However, there are trade-offs here. Warriors need to kill undead to gain experience and level up, while archers and horse archers frequently draw their bows and fire arrows, which consumes a significant amount of stamina. Having the warriors kill the remaining undead gives them more time to recover. Most importantly, the remaining undead lacked any 1st or 2nd tier creatures. With careful attention, the 0-tier warriors would be hard-pressed to be instantly slain by the undead. As long as they avoided instant annihilation, even critically injured soldiers could recover with health potions. Health potions were expensive, and Zhao Yi was reluctant to buy them. Fortunately, he had found a good supply from the treasure chest, more than enough to treat the seriously injured. Kill. The archers and horse archers had ceased firing. Under the command of their respective company commanders, the warriors, already prepared for battle, carefully navigated traps and metal fences, charging towards the undead trapped by the outermost magical metal fence. Professionals possessed superior vision, making traps difficult to fall into with a bit of caution. However, the dense array of traps forced the warriors to form teams of 2, with shield warriors or heavy cavalry leading the charge, spearmen or swordsmen following behind, to attack the undead. During the battle, numerous 2-star professionals emerged as exceptional, slaying more undead and gaining more experience. Furthermore, their outstanding performance on the battlefield would allow them to advance in rank faster than those with 1-star professional talents. Of course, there are also soldiers with great talent but mediocre performance. If you don't fight hard, then don't blame yourself for remaining in the same position. Due to the different tactics employed by the undead army, the battle to eliminate the 2nd wave of undead in Zhaocheng lasted much shorter than the 1st, but it also effectively increased the soldiers' stamina. This, in turn, put Zhao Yi's side at a slight disadvantage. Destroyed in 2 waves of undead, over 11,000 were annihilated, but for the undead, this small loss of manpower was essentially negligible. If they could destroy this human stronghold at the cost of 10 times that number of undead, it would also be a victory for the undead. With their overwhelming numerical advantage, the undead could fail dozens or hundreds of times. Each human stronghold would be completely destroyed with just 1 defeat, and their own corpses would even join the undead. The human situation on the Origin continent is truly difficult, and the Blue Star players who have now descended into the game world face the same dilemma. My territory is beyond saving. I've only wiped out 2 waves of undead, and less than half of the soldiers are still alive. I've ordered the civilians to take up arms and prepare to join the battle. If things don't work out, I'll have to flee the territory with my family and use points to exchange for some life-saving items. Maybe I can successfully reach the indigenous city or other player territories. Don't go to the indigenous city. The indigenous people won't let you in. If you can avoid close combat, avoid it to reduce casualties. Use points to buy alchemical items from the points mall to destroy the undead. That way you can hold out longer. This is a disaster, but also an opportunity. Destroy the undead and fight to support the war. Perhaps after the disaster is over, the territory will become even stronger. Don't think about becoming stronger. Staying alive is the most important thing. Only the big guys can become stronger in this disaster. We weaklings are very lucky to be able to survive the disaster alive. It's very unfortunate that I didn't become a lord at the beginning, nor did I accept the recruitment of the player lord. I have been staying in the indigenous city. Now that luck has come, it's really safe to stay in the indigenous city. It would be great if all those player territories outside were destroyed. Only then would we have a chance to rise. In the forum, many players took a break from their busy schedules to post a complaint, but the comments section was flooded with players from the indigenous cities. It's no surprise that the vast majority of players in the indigenous cities haven't fared as well as the lord players and combat class players in the player territories outside. Even in a territory teetering on the brink of collapse, lord players can still reap benefits that make most lower class players envious. The Blue Star players who descended on the origin continent have long been divided into several classes: lord players, combat class players, and life class players, residents of the indigenous cities, and residents of the player territories. Combat class players and life class players envy lord players, while players in the indigenous cities envy those in the territories outside the city. Life class players have the opportunity to become combat class players, and combat class players also have the opportunity to become lords, but this opportunity is extremely difficult for lower class players, requiring vast sums of money and numerous military achievements. Seeing the plight of the players outside the city, the players inside the city have an opportunity to mock them to their heart's content. This is human nature. Zhao Yi just took a look at the forum and closed it. He didn't want to be polluted by these malicious remarks. Chapter 107 Strengths and Weaknesses. The clouds of doom still thickened the sky. Every hour, a new wave of undead descended upon Zhao. The third wave consisted of over 2,500 undead knights, and including their mounts, the undead numbered over 5,000. The fourth wave consisted of over 5,000 beast skeletons. The fifth wave was a mixed skeletal army of skeleton knights, skeleton swordsmen, skeleton lancers, skeleton archers, and beast skeletons. The sixth wave consisted of over 5,000 zombies. By noon, Zhao had already eliminated 6 waves of undead, totaling over 30,000. The Zhao defenders suffered only a few casualties, only 11, all of them Tier 0 warriors. Over 400 were injured, but thanks to the treatment of priests and the use of life potions, their injuries would not carry over into the next battle. However, after recovery, the seriously injured soldiers needed time to rest and temporarily withdraw from the battle. If the situation became urgent, they would have to rejoin the battle. The key to maintaining a sustainable casualty rate lay in the consumption of military supplies. Originally, Zhao had enough military supplies to sustain 5 or 6 battles. If used sparingly, it could last for at most 2 more. The 9 affiliated villages were in a similar situation with their remaining supplies. They couldn't wait until supplies were nearly depleted to purchase more, as this might leave them too late and render them useless if something unexpected happened. Most other lords redeemed their points for supplies immediately after a battle, sometimes even during combat. Zhao Yi's territory, perhaps the one with the largest reserves of military supplies, now had to redeem them. While it was incredibly hard to sacrifice precious points for such inexpensive supplies, it was a necessary price to pay to defend the territory. It was better than losing countless soldiers and ultimately destroying the territory. That morning, Zhao Yi had 500,000 points. After destroying 6 waves of undead, his total was about to reach 2.4 million. Destroying 1 wave of undead in the main city and 9 affiliated villages each would earn him at least 300,000 points. The highest point he had ever earned before was over 1 million, after his territory was promoted to a 3rd-class earldom. If the teleportation array were still functional, these 2.4 million points would have significantly increased Zhao Yi's territory's strength. Even if he only recruited the most expensive 2nd-level priests, he could have recruited 7. And if he only recruited second-level archers, he could have recruited a full 79. Now, however, he has to use these precious points to purchase all sorts of military supplies from the mall, which is incredibly uneconomical. It's heartbreaking. A primary explosive arrow costs 5 gold in the market, but 10 points in the points mall. An intermediate explosive arrow costs 5 low-grade magic crystals in the market, but 100 points in the points mall. Advanced explosive arrows cost 1,000 points, and super explosive arrows a whopping 10,000 points. Lighting arrows are cheaper, at 20 points each. A primary alchemical bomb costs 500 points, and an intermediate alchemical bomb costs 10,000 points, the same price as a super explosive arrow. The pricing of various items in the points mall is completely unpredictable. At a rate of 1 point for 1 gold, prices often exceed market prices, with some even going 10 times higher. Many players tried to find items in the points mall that could be exchanged for low prices and sold at higher prices elsewhere, but they couldn't find any. Even if they could, they didn't have enough points to exchange them for. Many players simply exchanged gold coins for ordinary supplies to save time. However, bulk purchases of military supplies couldn't be made with metal currency, they had to use magic crystals. Therefore, they had to buy items from the points mall that were comparable to the market price. Looking at the exorbitant prices of various items, Zhao Yi took a few deep breaths of the oppressive air and began his shopping spree. He bought 20,000 primary explosive arrows, 2,000 intermediate explosive arrows, 200 advanced explosive arrows, 20 super explosive arrows, 2,000 illumination arrows, 1,000 offensive spell scrolls of various levels, 1,000 enchantment scrolls of various levels, and a few primary and intermediate alchemical bombs. This was enough military supplies to wipe out 4 waves of undead in the main city and 9 affiliated villages, costing Zhao Yi nearly 1.2 million points, roughly the same as the points earned from destroying 4 waves of undead. With this pattern of earning and spending points, fighting to support the enemy should be possible, but there are 2 key issues. The first is whether subsequent undead attacks will significantly change. Perhaps their numbers increase, or their strength rises, causing the points earned to outpace the points spent. Ultimately, points are depleted, and without alchemical items to replenish, the territory is destroyed. The second is casualties in battle. Territories built for shooters are more likely to fare better. Those not into shooters are forced to focus on melee combat or a mix of both. Mage builds currently lack territory for players. If the teleportation array is unusable, the territory cannot replenish its personnel. As soldiers in the territory continue to die in battle, even if you have a large amount of points and can purchase powerful alchemical items, you will still be outnumbered and annihilated by the undead hordes. Perhaps, if you can't hold on any longer, you can use your points to purchase life-saving items and quickly escape the territory, potentially offering a chance of survival. However, without the territory, which serves as your foundation, the future remains uncertain. Not only does the consumption of single-use alchemical items matter, but equipment also wears out with usage. This is especially true for swordsmen, shield warriors, lancers, and knights, whose weapons wear out very quickly in battle against the undead. Ordinary weapons wear out the fastest, but player territories generally have blacksmiths available who can repair them. The problem is with weapons of dark iron rank and above. Minor damage, such as a dull blade, can be sharpened by a blacksmith. However, if the runes that grant magical effects are broken, they must be repaired by an alchemist. Severe damage, even to an alchemist, can't be repaired, forcing the player to replace them with a new one. Furthermore, not all player territories have alchemists, those that do have one are merely apprentices. Zhao Yi's territory fares relatively well. With all the alchemists already in place, the Tishi village smelter is operating at full capacity, producing sufficient steel for the territory. The territory also has a sufficient number of blacksmiths to craft a large amount of ironware, including ordinary weapons. Zhao Yi's plan called for all Tier 0 warriors in the territory to be equipped with black iron weapons. However, the plan remained a plan, so Zhao Yi's soldiers, primarily Tier 0 warriors, continued to use a large number of ordinary weapons. Even if ordinary weapons needed repair after each wave of undead was eliminated, Zhao City's smiths could handle the situation, not to mention the existing stockpile of ordinary weapons. The intermediate alchemy workshop had already been established in Zhao City yesterday. With Mike and 2 apprentices familiarizing themselves with the alchemy workshop, operations were expected to begin soon. The key issue was a lack of raw materials. Fortunately, black iron weapons are more durable than ordinary weapons, and since warriors primarily slash tier 0 undead, black iron weapons last longer. This was true throughout Zhao Yi's territory, not to mention other player territories, which lack either a smeltery or an alchemy workshop. Even Changjin territory, still ranked first, had a high proportion of combat players, leaving it vulnerable in other areas. It was expected that after this disaster, the player lords who managed to retain their territories would carefully consider their development. Chapter 108. The battle continues. As Zhao Yi began to redeem various items in the Points Mall, military supplies quickly piled up around him. Over a dozen soldiers began stuffing the supplies into their storage gear. Next, most of Zhao Cheng's storage gear would be emptied to carry various military supplies for delivery to the 9 affiliated villages, including the 100 cubic meter storage ring on Zhao Yi's finger. The 7th batch of undead hadn't arrived yet, but the military supplies destined for the 9 affiliated villages were already loaded. 18 first-level assassins stepped out, 2 in a row, armed with scrolls of invisibility, scrolls of wind blessing, and storage gear containing military supplies. After receiving a wind mage's blessing, they used their haze skill and set off. Even the farthest affiliated villages from Zhaocheng could be reached by first-level assassins in less than half an hour. Second-level assassins were faster, but they couldn't freely travel to affiliated villages. Furthermore, the Zhaocheng battlefield needed second-level assassins more than ever, and cavalry, unable to conceal their presence, couldn't be deployed. Deploying first-tier assassins was sufficient. The military supplies stored in the 9 affiliated villages were unlikely to be exhausted immediately. Similar to the situation in Zhaocheng, if they were frugal, they could sustain 2 more battles. Just 15 minutes after the 9 groups of assassins departed, the 7th wave of undead hordes arrived, comprising over 5,000 skeletons. The soldiers, having rested for only half an hour, once again engaged in battle against the incoming undead. Zhao Yi's territory was sufficiently powerful to withstand the oncoming waves of undead with ease. There were a few player territories similar to Zhao Yi's, roughly ranked among the top 1,000 in the territory combat power rankings. However, many more player territories had previously barely managed to survive. After a routine battle, a territory would lose some professionals, which would then be replaced by recruits using points. The families of those killed in battle were then expelled. With each passing day, the territory's strength saw minimal improvement, or even no improvement, or even decline. Player lords in such territories would not dare to advance, but now faced an even more formidable undead horde than they had faced upon promotion. Most importantly, those who lost their lives defending against the undead horde last night were about to be recruited this morning, only to discover that the arrival of the doom cloud had rendered the teleportation array inoperable. Unable to replenish their forces, they could only purchase various supplies with their points. Faced with this situation, some player lords simply fled, either to indigenous cities or other player territories. Finding a receptive player territories was difficult, and even those who did find one had to pay a large sum of protection money, or, if unlucky, they were simply killed and robbed. Many more player lords chose to hold their territories, struggling to defeat the first wave of undead, only to fall to the second. A small number of player territories couldn't even withstand the first wave, as liches commanded each wave of undead. Each wave of undead brought the destruction of numerous player territories. Few player lords were willing to perish alongside their territories, simply using their points to purchase life-saving items, such as expensive scrolls of random teleportation, but with bad luck, players could be teleported directly into the undead. On the forums, lords whose territories had been destroyed or were on the verge of collapse were seething with rage. Indigenous players from other cities were free to joke and mock, while some powerful figures posted messages to help their territories better withstand the undead hordes. Zhao Yi's territory had the fewest casualties. Changjin, the leader, had over 40 casualties and was faced with numerous challenges. Even worn-out weapons had to be exchanged for points. While the points earned were sufficient to sustain the battle-based system, if the disaster persisted for too long, they would be insufficient. It seemed as if endless waves of undead emerged from the cemetery, charging towards all gathering places of the living. Enveloped by the cloud of disaster, it was impossible to tell whether it was day or night. Zhao Cheng defeated the 8th, 9th, and 10th waves of the undead horde, leaving over 20 casualties, all Tier 0 professionals, though some Tier 1 professionals had already been seriously injured by the undead. It was foreseeable that as the battle continued, the soldiers' stamina would decline, and the death toll would continue to rise. Out in the wilderness, Lin Sen, a rank 0 assassin and a member of the 6th village garrison, carefully lurked, scouting for the next wave of undead. When the 11th wave of undead appeared in his sight, Lin Sen was stunned. How could there be so many undead? He roughly estimated the number to be over 1,000, perhaps even close to 1,500. There were over 100 first-level undead, and even the presence of second-level undead was visible. Lin Sen immediately turned, tore open a scroll of wind blessing, and used his haze skill to sprint towards the 6th village. In the 6th village, Captain Healy, receiving Lin Sen's report, unhesitatingly dispatched 2 light cavalrymen to Zhaochang from different routes to provide assistance. The undead were too numerous to count, and even with the 9-man archer squad that Zhaochang had previously sent to support them, the number of professionals was less than 130. The previous 10 waves of undead had each contained over 400, and the garrison had eliminated every single one without losing a single person. However, this time, over 1,000 undead attacked, outnumbering the current population of Village 6. The garrison could not withstand such a large influx. Village 6 was in danger of being destroyed. Even if it could hold out, it would suffer heavy casualties. It was necessary to request assistance from Zhaocheng. It was uncertain when reinforcements would arrive, so they had to fend for themselves until then. Village 6 had ample military supplies, including 2 intermediate-level alchemical bombs and 20 primary-level alchemical bombs as a trump card. Healy did not expect these trump cards to stop the enemy, he simply hoped to use them to buy time until reinforcements arrived. The straight-line distance between Village 6 and Zhaochang was only 6 kilometers. With a blessing of the wind, the 0-tier light cavalry could reach Zhaochang from Village 6 in 10 minutes at most. The first light cavalry to arrive in Zhaochang took only 8 minutes, their horses nearly dying from exhaustion. But it was all worth it. At most, 1 horse would die of exhaustion. People were far more important than horses, especially since they were an entire village. Upon receiving the call for help, Zhao Yi had no time to dwell and immediately dispatched the rescue team that had been on standby. The rescue team consisted of 81 archers, 9 wind mages, 6 earth mages, and 4 priests, a total of 100 men. While there were no second-tier professionals, there were a full 20 first-tier professionals, representing 1/5 of the total force. Captain Sarmu's space equipment contained a large quantity of military supplies, including explosive arrows, offensive spell scrolls, and alchemical bombs. If only 1,000 or so undead were attacking Village 6, the rescue team could have completed their mission. From the arrival of the rescue cavalry in Zhaochang, to Zhao Yi receiving the call for help from Village 6, and then to the dispatch of the rescue team from Zhaochang, a mere 3 minutes elapsed. The wind mages within the rescue team exerted their utmost to bestow the blessing of wind upon all their war horses, and like an arrow from a bow, the 100-horse rescue team rushed towards Village 6. However, the rescue team's deployment also caused a slight shift in the 11th wave of undead attacking Zhaochang. Hundreds of undead broke away from the team and pursued the retreating rescue team. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 109 Reinforcements. Reinforcements. The rescue team had already set out for Village 6. Within a minute, the undead horde entered the attack range of the 6th village garrison's archers. First-tier archers, kill the second-tier undead first, then the first-tier undead. 0-tier archers and 0-tier archers, kill the skeleton archers first. As illuminating arrows illuminated the sky and earth, the archers and archers took aim and fired. The 6th village garrison comprised 29 archers and 9 archers. The deputy captain was a first-tier archer, and the others were all 0-tier. Adding Zhao Cheng's reinforcements, a small team of archers, 3 first-tier archers and 6 0-tier archers, a total of 47 professionals wielded bows and crossbows to fire arrows at the undead. As long as the number of undead in a single attacking batch did not exceed 10 times that of the 47, the 6th village garrison could eliminate them all with minimal effort. But now, the number of undead in a single attacking batch was at least 30 times that of the 47. Faced with immense pressure, the archers and horse archers worked like machines, constantly drawing arrows, knotting their bows, drawing strings, aiming, and firing. They tried to eliminate the most threatening targets, the second-tier undead, the first-tier undead, and the skeleton archers. But the attacking undead were too numerous. There were only 7 second-tier undead in the undead army, and 4 first-tier archers, using their tracking arrow skills and advanced explosive arrows, could eliminate them in about 3 waves of fire. After the second-tier undead, the first-tier undead numbered over 100, and the skeleton archers numbered around 200. With the defenses of Village 6, they could at best eliminate the skeleton archers, before the first-tier undead, accompanied by the larger number of 0-tier undead, rushed into the trap area. The defenses of the affiliated villages were merely ordinary metal fences, offering little resistance to the first-tier undead. Archers and horse archers fired relentlessly. Captain Harry, who had been commanding the battle, stood with a squad of spearmen. In front of them stood the garrison's earth mages, water mages, and nature mages, along with alchemical bombs placed on the ground. The clouds of doom showed no sign of receding. With luck, reinforcements would arrive in time to eliminate this wave of undead without much loss of life, and then face the next wave. A line of defense formed by ordinary metal fencing would be effective in keeping out the 0-tier undead. The goal was to prevent the first-tier undead from damaging the line as much as possible. Therefore, Harry planned to use alchemical bombs when the first-tier undead reached the trap area on the outermost line of defense, thereby holding the line as long as possible and thus buying time. Even if Harry used all these alchemical bombs, which were extremely expensive for him, he knew the Lord would quickly replenish the garrison's losses. Everything was done to protect their homeland. Time passed quickly. The second-tier undead had already been completely annihilated, and over half the skeleton archers had been eliminated. However, their arrows had already reached the garrison's final line of defense. Due to the distance, the bone arrows lacked much power, unable to penetrate even leather armor. Unless they struck a vital point, they posed little threat to the garrison. The fastest ghosts in the undead army were already approaching. Fire mages, wind mages, and priests were ready for battle, some even preparing to use enchantment scrolls on their weapons. Healy ignored the approaching ghosts. There were only a few dozen of them, and the mages and priests could easily eliminate them. Healy's attention remained focused on the first-tier undead charging in the front, as they were about to enter the outermost trap area. Alchemical bombs ready, the mages quickly activated 1 intermediate-level alchemical bomb and 9 primary-level alchemical bombs on the ground. Healy, a first-tier swordsman, quickly grabbed an intermediate-level alchemical bomb, while the 9 0-tier spearmen each grabbed a primary-level alchemical bomb. The next moment, Healy fiercely hurled his intermediate alchemical bomb, slightly away from the outermost trap. The 9 lancers remained motionless, having received no orders from their captain. A mere second later, the moment the intermediate alchemical bomb hit the ground, the mage detonated it, wiping out the undead within an area exceeding 250 square meters. 1, 2, 3, 4, throw to the sides. After throwing the alchemical bomb, Healy gave the order to the 4 lancers without hesitation. As soon as he finished speaking, the lancers unleashed 4 primary alchemical bombs, hurling them to either side of the intermediate alchemical bomb's blast zone. A second later, 4 explosions echoed, wiping out all the 0-level undead within an area exceeding 110 square meters, even killing and crippling several first-level undead. It's truly a treasure. Seeing the damage the alchemical bombs had inflicted, Healy's regret for wasting them eased considerably. However, the incoming undead were still too numerous. After 5 alchemical bombs destroyed hundreds of them, more undead surged forward. Healy quickly issued new orders, launching the remaining 5 primary alchemical bombs. Meanwhile, 5 mages were free to activate 1 intermediate and 4 primary alchemical bombs, preparing for a third wave. Wave after wave of alchemical bombs effectively hindered the undead charge. By the time all the alchemical bombs were gone, the archers and horse archers had eliminated most of the skeleton archers and were ready to take over the alchemical bombs' duties. The battle continued. With the alchemical bombs depleted, there were still 700 or 800 undead on the battlefield, including at least 60 first-level undead. A significant number of undead, fortunately spared from the alchemical bombs, had already passed through the outermost traps. 1 first-level undead breached the outermost defenses and led the charge towards the next line. The archers and horse archers fired explosive arrows to destroy the undead. Heli ordered the warriors to form a battle formation, determined to hold the final line of defense. Village 6 was unfortunate enough to encounter a wave of undead that outnumbered its population. Yet, this misfortune was punctuated by a stroke of luck. Without a lich to command the undead army, they were able to eliminate half of them without losing a single life in battle. Under normal circumstances, facing a wave of 700 or 800 undead, Village 6 would have needed no reinforcements, not even the use of alchemical bombs, and could have easily annihilated the incoming undead with minimal effort. The most challenging moment had arrived. With continuous arrow fire, the archers and horse archers' rate of fire was rapidly decreasing. The undead continued to advance, falling into traps, climbing out, and falling back into traps, repeating the cycle, steadily approaching Village 6's final line of defense. Close combat seemed inevitable, and the archers and horse archers diligently shot down the remaining first-tier undead in the undead horde. Among the warriors defending Village 6, only Captain Harry was a first-tier undead. A zero-tier warrior facing a first-tier undead wouldn't even need a second move. Facing the undead that were getting closer and closer, the warriors gritted their teeth. Their families were all in the village, and they could not retreat, let alone run away. They had to stop the undead. As long as they held on for one more minute, reinforcements would surely arrive. 20 meters, 15 meters, 10 meters. There were less than 400 attacking undead, and only a few first-level undead were left. However, there were only about 60 shield warriors, spearmen, and swordsmen in the garrison, a difference of 6 or 7 times, a huge gap. We will definitely be able to stop the undead. Kill them. Harry stopped before he could finish the last word, because he heard the cheers from the archers on the high platform. Reinforcements are coming. Reinforcements are coming. Chapter 110 Stay behind. Reinforcements arrived, saving Village 6. The farmers, who had picked up their tools, could avoid the danger of advancing. However, the reinforcements were still far away, and Heli had to command his warriors to hold off the advancing undead. Shield warriors held their shields in front, with spearmen standing behind them. Mages, depleted of mana, drank mana potions to recharge while attacking the undead with attack scrolls. The few remaining first-tier undead charging the strongest side were quickly dispatched by the mages with their first-tier attack scrolls. Without the first-tier undead, the warriors' pressure was greatly reduced. Numerous zero-tier undead had already surged onto the metal fence. Spearmen, wielding their spears, pierced the gaps in the fence, stabbing at the undead's heads. The undead were too numerous, and as they were constantly slain by the spearmen, mages, archers, more and more pressed forward. With no first-tier undead to break the metal fence, the zero-tier undead simply trampled over it, charging towards the warriors. Raise your shields. Hold off the undead. Lancers and shield warriors coordinated. Shield warriors held off the undead, while lancers, armed with their spears, sought openings to attack. Mages, archers, and horse archers continued their attacks, and even assassins joined the fray with hand crossbows. The first casualty of the 6th village garrison arrived, a lancer, accidentally stabbed in the face by a skeleton lancer's spear. The battle raged, the casualties mounting rapidly. When the 4th casualty appeared, reinforcements finally arrived. Mounted archers unleashed explosive arrows directly at the undead. A single wave of attacks from 81 archers reduced the remaining undead to a quarter. The reinforcement stopped at the edge of the 6th village trap area, and mounted on their horses, archers continuously fired explosive arrows to support the 6th village garrison. Harry directed his soldiers to fight and retreat. By the time the reinforcements arrived, each archer had fired about 5 explosive arrows, and finally, no undead remained standing on the battlefield. The 6th village garrison suffered a heavy price, losing 6 soldiers, all shield warriors and spearmen. Had reinforcements not arrived in time, the casualties would have been even greater. Without them, the 6th village would have been destroyed. The rescue mission had been completed, but Sarmu did not leave with the reinforcements. He needed to lead his men to help the garrison eliminate 1 or 2 more waves of undead. Xiao Chang had only 1 rescue team on standby, but after each rescue team set out, a new one would be prepared. Once the 2nd rescue team arrived, the 1st team would have to return. The 6th village garrison suffered only 6 casualties, all warriors, which might seem a reasonable loss, but the actual loss of combat effectiveness was significant. The archers and cavalry archers, the mainstays of the battle, were barely able to draw their bows and needed at least an hour of rest. The mage's mana was also nearly depleted, but thanks to mana potions and offensive spell scrolls, their combat effectiveness remained largely unchanged. Without reinforcements remaining in the 6th village, the garrison would struggle to withstand the next wave of undead, even if it numbered fewer than 500. Samu and his men carefully navigated the traps and several defensive lines. Entering the 6th village, the war horses were stationed nearby, and the archers relieved the exhausted archers and horse archers. The battle was over, and the next wave of undead wouldn't arrive for about 30 minutes. The professionals needed time to rest. The village chief led the laborers out of the village. Their task was to replace as many damaged metal fences as possible before the next wave arrived. Earth mages also participated in the effort. The village had some spare metal fences, but the damage was so extensive this time that Samu couldn't fit them in his storage. Replacing the damaged metal fences with those from the other 3 lines of defense would be a much easier option. Distributing the damaged metal fences across the 4 lines would significantly reduce the problem. 20 minutes later, several assassins returned to report the 2 groups of undead were attacking Village 6 from 2 different directions. One group numbered over 400, the other over 300, potentially exceeding 800 in total, including some second-tier undead. Heli and Samu breathed a sigh of relief upon learning that only 800 undead were attacking. Even if the archers and horse archers of Village 6's garrison rested, the rescue team's 81 horse archers could hold off 800 undead. Furthermore, Samu's storage equipment contained a large amount of military supplies, including a batch of alchemical bombs. After the rescue team left Village 6, a significant portion of these supplies would be left behind. 10 minutes later, fighting erupted again on the battlefield in Village 6. Under the attack of the rescue team's horse archers, the attacking undead were barely able to advance. In less than 10 minutes, the battle was over, with no casualties and only a few injuries. Zhao Cheng hadn't sent anyone to recall the rescue team, but Samu still ordered 1/3 of the team to return to Zhao Cheng. They weren't evacuated all at once. The number and strength of the incoming undead varied depending on the strength of the living aura in the area. The next wave of undead attacks was expected to be larger and stronger than usual. Without a rescue team, it would be more difficult for the 6th village garrison to eliminate all incoming undead. In Zhaocheng, thanks to the first-level assassins roaming between the main city and the affiliated villages, Zhao Yi was able to quickly learn of changes in the 6th village. An accident resulted in the deaths of 6 level 0 warriors from the 6th village garrison, a tragedy Zhao Yi felt, as the rescue team arrived a little late. Had the rescue team arrived sooner, perhaps no one would have been killed. Furthermore, Zhao Yi realized that the affiliated villages were insufficiently prepared. Even if they had simply stockpiled more alchemical bombs, they might have been able to eliminate all incoming undead attacks at minimal cost, without reinforcements. The points required to purchase alchemical bombs from the points mall were too high. A basic alchemical bomb only cost 500 points, but an intermediate one increased 20-fold to 10,000 points each, the same price as a super explosive arrow. The price of a mid-level alchemical bomb is high, but it's certainly effective. A single blast can wipe out a large area, completely wiping out Tier 0 and Tier 1 undead. Even Tier 2 undead in the core area can be annihilated. After some discussion, Zhao Yi and Elliot decided to exchange for more alchemical bombs to bolster the reserves of the 9 affiliated villages. Increasing the alchemical bomb reserves doesn't mean they'll be used. Under normal circumstances, alchemical bombs aren't needed at all, only explosive arrows and offensive spell scrolls are needed. The 6th village only used up its alchemical bomb reserves due to an unexpected event, which caused a surge in the number of undead attacks. With only one accident occurring in 11 waves of undead, and 9 affiliated villages for one main city, the probability of an accident is relatively low. It's even possible to avoid increasing the alchemical bomb reserves and simply dispatch a rescue team when an accident occurs. As long as the rescue team arrives in time, the affected affiliated villages won't suffer significant damage. However, considering it's uncertain when the disaster cloud will recede, and the likelihood of accidents may increase, it's best to bolster the strength of each affiliated village. Increasing the alchemical bomb reserves is the best option. Chapter 111 Opportunity for Takeoff. Wave after wave of undead descended. At first, Zhao Yi could still remember which wave it was, but gradually, he lost count. He simply mechanically repeated the routine of commanding battles, issuing orders, shooting arrows, resting, and purchasing supplies. Occasionally, Zhao Yi would check the forums to see what was happening in other player territories. All he could say was, the situation was dire. When Blue Star players first arrived, there were hundreds of millions of player territories. Before the disaster, there must have been 60 to 70 million. By now, the number had probably dropped below 10 million. Not all territories were like Zhao Yi's, without a lich personally commanding the undead hordes. Almost every undead horde faced by a Viscount's territory had a lich personally in command. These liches were difficult to kill. After slaying one wave of undead, they would quickly flee and lead the next. However, some territories mastered the methods of eliminating liches. As more liches died in a territory, their appearances decreased until they vanished completely. Weak territory liches disdain to come, while powerful ones dare not. True to their wisdom, they retain their former wisdom. Zhao Yi also saw posts on the forums where players living in indigenous cities were intently monitoring the territory combat power rankings, observing the steadily declining combat power of the top territories. A decline in combat power means that a territory has experienced the death of a professional. Currently, it's impossible to find a player territory without any professional casualties. The only distinction is the number of casualties. The most noticeable change for Zhao Yi was that his territory had entered the top 10 of the territory combat power rankings, and its ranking was steadily rising. If current trends held, it wouldn't be long before Zhao Yi reached the top of the territory combat power rankings. Other players were intently studying the rankings. Although Zhao Yi hid his information, he remained noticed and attracted increasing attention. The reason for this attention was simple: Zhao Yi's territory's combat power was declining very slowly, much slower than that of the top 10. Could it be that the territory of this lord who's hiding this information is even more powerful than Cheng Jingling's? Many players speculated, believing this lord to be the only third-rank Earl, Lucky Sun 413. As expected of a lord, his combat power is far inferior to Cheng Jingling's, but his casualties are far fewer. I'm somewhat convinced his territory is even stronger than Cheng Jingling's. Players' discussions have also heightened interest in Lucky Sun 413 among major player factions, with a desire to locate Lucky Sun 413's territory on the origin continent. However, that will have to wait until the disaster is over. The most important thing now is to survive. Player factions can no longer offer much assistance to their territories. At best, they can offer advice. Everything still depends on the territories themselves. As long as they can survive this disaster, regardless of their territory's rank, they will devote all their efforts to nurturing them. Countless territories were destroyed in the disaster, and some player lords who abandoned their territories have even fled to Zhao Yi's territory, seeking refuge. Before the player could even communicate with Zhao Yi's men, the garrison commander of the 8th village, Janelle, ordered his archers to fire arrows to drive them away. Any approaching was fatal. If someone wasn't one of us, and yet he still approached, there were too many dangers here, and all danger must be avoided. After the incident, an assassin reported the situation to Zhao Yi, who determined that the player had fled and verbally commended Janelle for his actions. Janelle's handling of the outsiders was sound, and he demanded that all subordinate villages adopt the same approach. First, shoot arrows to drive them away, then kill them directly if they approached. Zhao Yi didn't mind killing a former lord to increase territory income. As for forcing players to enter the territory first and then kill them, Zhao Yi disdained such a tactic. Furthermore, there was no way to determine whether the players had any powerful items. Even if they didn't, they could buy them at any time as long as they had points, and could easily cause severe damage to the subordinate villages. No matter how angry the expelled players were, they wouldn't waste their precious points on revenge against Zhao Yi's territory. The battle continued, with waves of undead being slain, and 2 more subordinate villages suffered accidents. On one occasion, the rescue team arrived just in time, and no casualties were reported. On another occasion, the rescue team was a bit slow, and the village garrison, at the cost of 4 casualties, expended all their alchemical bombs to eliminate the attacking undead. Zhao Yi felt the pain of the expended alchemical bombs, but fortunately, casualties were minimal, and they replenished the alchemical bombs used in the affiliated village. He was exhausted, deeply exhausted. He didn't know whether he had eliminated 20 or 25 waves of undead. The physical strain was not a problem. After each battle, there was at least a half-hour break, and food could be consumed to replenish energy. With the physical fitness of a professional, he could easily sustain 2 or 3 days of continuous fighting. The main challenge was the mental exhaustion caused by the intense fighting. Whether physical or mental, the number of casualties increased. Zhao Yi was already planning to purchase energy potions from the points mall to alleviate the mental fatigue of the professionals. Huh? Zhao Yi exclaimed in surprise, rubbing his eyes. It was still there, not dazzled. How did the system panel appear? Seeing the battle results page appear on the system panel, Zhao Yi finally understood. A day and a night had passed, and the battle results page would appear with each new day. You won 10 battles, you eliminated 235,836 undead, you lost 73 soldiers, Zhao Town battle rating A, Tishi village battle rating C, second village battle rating C, points increased by 74.5%, professional experience increased by 74.5%, received 1 crystal treasure chest and 9 gold treasure chests, archer class upgrade. Seeing the battle results page, Zhao Yi realized that his territory's main city and 9 affiliated villages had slain over 200,000 undead. The long-desired A rating and crystal treasure chest had been achieved so quickly. However, based on the number of undead slain in the main city, it should have been over 100,000, barely enough to reach a higher rating than A. However, with a few dozen casualties in the main city, the rating dropped from barely to A. It was almost certain that the A-rated crystal treasure chest contained at least 5 crystal cards. Each of the 9 affiliated villages should have slain just over 10,000 undead. If placed in the main city, with no casualties, it would have received an A rating and a crystal chest containing a crystal card. Now, with casualties appearing in an affiliated village, its rating has been reduced to C. However, compared to the 9 silver chests previously awarded, the immediate 9 gold chests are a significant achievement. Only 10 battles were won, apparently counting a single day's battles as won, accumulating the gains from quantity to quality. While the bonus points allowed other territories to successfully fight and sustain themselves, Zhao Yi's territory gained even more from this disaster. The bonus to class experience allowed the archer class to level up directly. Over the past day and night of fighting, the archer class had already leveled up several times, and with a bonus to combat experience, it could have leveled up more than once. This disaster actually brought Zhao Yi ever closer to level 30, reaching level 29 today, 100%. But Zhao Yi wouldn't upgrade. Once he reached level 30, becoming a tier 3 archer, there was a high probability that tier 4 undead would appear among the undead army, perhaps even more than one. Even having the means to deal with tier 4 undead wasn't a guarantee, especially during a disaster. It would be better to wait until after the disaster to upgrade to tier 3. Hundreds of players on the leaderboard had already reached combat class level 29, 100%, and none had chosen to upgrade. A lack of level 3 advancement stones couldn't be the reason. Chapter 112 Pegasus. For almost all Blue Star players, the most intense emotional swings of the day occur when they open treasure chests. Uncovering something bad brings a wave of disappointment, while finding something great sends them screaming with excitement. Zhao Yi's emotions also fluctuated wildly when he saw a treasure chest, hoping for something good. The next wave of undead was about to arrive, and Zhao Yi didn't have time to waste on treasure chests. Of the 10 treasure chests, he opened the crystal chest first, leaving the 9 gold chests for later. Opening the crystal chest revealed 49 cards. Quickly scanning through them all, Zhao Yi discovered that there were only 7 cards of each level. He immediately selected 7 cards, 4 crystal cards, small magic cannon, 3 3-star level 2 shield warrior recruitment scrolls, advanced market, and level 6 advancement stone. 3 gold cards, platinum leather armor, 3 level 2 priest recruitment scrolls, and 15 level 2 Pegasus. Of the 7 cards, only items from the small magic cannon and platinum leather armor cards are currently usable. The magic cannon, the father of the magic gun. Of course, this is just a joke. The magic gun is actually a magic cannon, the correct name being the micro magic cannon. However, due to its power and cost, the micro magic cannon was expelled from the magic cannon category. Compared to the scarce magic gun, the small magic cannon is the most produced type in the magic cannon family. A single shot can kill a tier 4 professional or undead, and injure a tier 5, provided it's accurate. If multiple small magic cannons simultaneously hit a target, even a tier 5 can be killed. Even with such immense power, the small magic cannon consumes a terrifying amount of energy. 10 mid-grade magic crystals are enough to charge just one shot. Even if a Tier 4 professional is accurately targeted, there's no guarantee of a single kill. The proper use of the magic cannon is to mount it on a mage tower, drawing energy from the tower's energy pool to maintain its fire. Zhao Yi also had a mage tower, but with such a short time frame, the tower's stored energy could only fire the mana cannon 3 or 4 times at minimum. While the mana cannon consumed a lot of energy, it added another weapon to Zhao Yi's arsenal, increasing his ability to deal with Tier 4 professionals or the undead. With so many points at hand, Zhao Yi was constantly on guard against the appearance of Tier 4 undead, so he had to spend some points to prepare countermeasures. If he wasn't prepared, a sudden appearance by a Tier 4 undead would put Zhao Cheng in danger. He opened the crystal treasure chest a second time and found quite a few goodies. 3 3-star talent Tier 2 shield warrior recruitment scrolls appeared immediately, along with a high-level market capable of international trade, the highest level of market, beyond which there was no higher-level supermarket. It was still too early to use the level 6 advancement stone. 3 Tier 2 priests, unfortunately, were unrecruitable at the moment. Recruiting them would significantly reduce casualties. The appearance of level 2 Pegasus 15 allows Zhao Yi's territory to form its first air cavalry. At the same level, it's hard for land-based creatures to outperform flying ones. Imagine air cavalry shooting arrows and dropping bombs from the sky at enemies on the ground, and you'll understand the power. This presupposes air superiority. Pegasus cannot be summoned yet, and air superiority on the battlefield rests with the undead. With the appearance of beast-like undead, flying undead will naturally appear, but their numbers are relatively small. Any that dare approach will be destroyed by archers and archers. Control of the battlefield's air superiority among the undead poses no immediate threat to Zhao Yi's territory. In fact, there are other items in the crystal treasure chest that can be used in this war, though their value is relatively low. As long as each incoming wave of undead doesn't undergo significant changes, Zhao Yi is confident he can survive this disaster. This confidence stems from the over 8 million points he holds. Originally, he had less than 3 million points, but the bonus from battle settlements has increased his points by over 5 million. With so many points in hand, Zhao Yi didn't even choose the Tier 2 professional recruitment scroll, instead selecting Tier 2 Pegasus 15. The next wave of undead was about to arrive on the battlefield. Zhao Yi stopped opening treasure chests and went straight to his card pack, using the crystal card, small magic cannon, and the platinum card, platinum leather armor. He donned the Perkin leather armor and placed the small magic cannon in his makeshift 3 cubic meter storage ring. Because the market was unavailable, Zhao Yi still had hundreds of mid-grade magic crystals to power the small magic cannon. He decided not to let the magic cannon consume the limited energy stored in the mage tower. The 25th wave of undead officially arrived on the battlefield. From the high platform, Zhao Yi carefully observed the movements of the undead army. With half of his forces currently concentrated on the front lines, the Lich commanding the undead army would surely have the undead army surround Zhao Cheng first, then launch a simultaneous attack from all sides. As Zhao Yi expected, the undead army that arrived on the battlefield didn't continue to advance towards Zhao Cheng, but instead split into 2 groups, aiming to encircle the city. Zhao Yi and his professional warriors had grown accustomed to this situation after the past day and night of fighting. If Zhao Cheng's main forces were concentrated on the front lines, the attacking undead would first surround and then attack. If Zhao Cheng's forces were dispersed, the attacking undead would attack directly from the front, occasionally sending out a unit of elite undead to attempt a surprise attack from the rear or flank. Due to the rules, the Lich could not simply unleash a massive undead horde to devour Zhao Cheng. The waves of undead sent out proved ineffective in depleting Zhao Cheng's forces. The Lich constantly changed its tactics, aiming to accelerate the exhaustion of the human professionals and ultimately destroy Zhao Cheng. As the defenders, the human side of Zhao Cheng could only struggle to cope. While their physical strength held up, the mental exhaustion was even more unbearable. After defeating the 25th wave of undead at the cost of 3 casualties, Zhao Yi began purchasing energy potions from the points market. There were hundreds of energy potions available, the cheapest costing just 100 points each. These simply boosted euphoria, but after the excitement wore off, they only further fatigued them, making them less effective. There are also energy potions that are effective in restoring energy, but they come with significant side effects. They cost 500 points each, and after the effects wear off, mental damage can occur. With 8 million points in hand, Zhao Yi ultimately chose an energy potion that cost 1,000 points, the same price as a high-level explosive arrow. This energy potion doesn't need to be consumed in one go. A Tier 0 class only needs half a sip, a Tier 1 class a sip, and a Tier 2 class 2 sips to effectively alleviate mental fatigue. Given the frequency of yesterday's battles, one energy potion would be enough for a Tier 0 class to last a day. Zhao Yi directly purchased 3,500 energy potions, spending 3.5 million points and providing one for each class under his command. As the energy potions were distributed to all soldiers, casualties in the following battles dropped significantly, almost to the same level as yesterday's daytime. Zhao Yi felt the energy potions were worth the investment. While using all 3.5 million points to recruit 1,000 Tier 1 archers would have allowed him to do so, the teleportation array was currently unavailable, making recruitment impossible. Without the energy potion, today's casualties wouldn't be as low as yesterday's 73, but would have increased by at least 7 or 8 times. With so many casualties, the territory's danger of being annihilated by the undead horde greatly increases. We can't put our territory in jeopardy just to save points. Furthermore, with so many casualties, the loyalty of some soldiers will decline, and public sentiment will decline as well. The families of the fallen soldiers will become a burden to the territory. Chapter 113 Reaching the Summit. During breaks in battle, Zhao Yi was busy purchasing various supplies from the points mall. Only during these brief breaks could he open a gold chest. There were 9 gold chests, each containing either 4 or 5 gold cards, with the best being the one containing 5. It was expected that affiliated villages with fewer casualties would receive a gold chest containing 5 gold cards, while those with more casualties would receive 4. Zhao Yi had gradually discovered a pattern between battle evaluation, chests, and cards. This pattern was probably unique to Zhao Yi among the Blue Star players, and even if he had figured it out, he couldn't publicly share it on the forum. He opened all 9 chests, uncovering a wealth of goodies, primarily professional recruitment scrolls, gold tier and silver tier equipment, and advancement stones. One of the professional recruitment scrolls could recruit a 3-star assassin. Among the items he found, Zhao Yi particularly liked the gold card, Magic Radiance Skill Book. Magic Radiance is a legion skill that increases the mana regeneration rate of subordinate mages by 10% at the initial level. As the Lord and Supreme Commander of the territory's army, Zhao Yi directly used the mana rejuvenation skill on himself. At least for the time being, humanity is at a disadvantage against the undead, and Zhao Yi's territory is also on the defensive. Using appropriate legion skills is the best way to enhance the territory's strength. At some point, when humanity gains the upper hand, a general will be needed to lead the army into battle. At this time, it's crucial to prepare more legion skills for these generals. Whenever possible, distribute gold and silver tier equipment found to the benefit of his commanding professions. Of course, not everyone can be rewarded with higher tier equipment. 3-star Wind Mage Joanna, 2-star Domination Swordsman Elliot, 3-star Priest Randall, 3-star Archer Mars, and 4-star Space Mage Ignes. These 5 most talented professions under Zhao Yi's command are entitled to gold tier equipment due to their positions or talents. If superior equipment is arbitrarily awarded to less talented professions, with unclear rewards and punishments, it's unlikely the loyalty of the other professions will decline. The battle continued, and Zhao Yi, who was somewhat sensitive to time, could sense that the time between successive waves of undead was shortening. Yesterday morning, there were only 6 waves of undead attacks. This morning, there are already 7, and the intervals are shortening. This presents a significant problem. Given Zhao Cheng's population and the amount of undead it attracts, each wave of undead numbers over 5,000, requiring approximately half an hour to completely eliminate. With only an hour between waves, the soldiers in Zhao Cheng have a half-hour break. The soldiers' rest periods after each battle are gradually decreasing. It's not noticeable yet, but if the intervals are reduced to 30 minutes or even less, the next wave will arrive before one is completely eliminated, effectively a continuous stream of undead attacks. This might be manageable for a short period, but if it persists for too long, even a powerful territory like Zhao Yi will be annihilated. Many players on the forum have already noticed this problem, but no solution is available. One player territory, having cultivated relationships with the local nobles through gifts, now seeks assistance from the nobles, only to be declined, claiming the undead are sieging the city and unable to provide assistance. Many indigenous nobles viewed the otherworldly heroes as unrelated, meaning their deaths were irrelevant. They wouldn't waste their own lives saving them. They even hoped the otherworldly heroes would sacrifice their lives to consume more undead, relieving their burden. Very few player territories were able to receive aid from the indigenous people, leaving the rest to weather the disaster on their own. Thankfully, this morning's battle settlements had yielded a significant bonus, giving them some confidence to weather the disaster. However, their confidence remained somewhat limited, even among the top 1,000 leaders. By the end of the morning, Zhao Yi's territory had already taken second place in the territory combat power rankings, and with a few more battles, it would reach first place. With his first place about to be taken away, Cheng Jin would think of Zhao Yi during his downtime, wondering how his own territory fared compared to his. There was no need to speculate. The second-placed leader in the hidden information rankings undoubtedly had a stronger territory than Cheng Jin's. This was widely acknowledged on the forums. After all, Zhao Yi's combat power had declined minimally since the disaster. The declining combat value makes it easy to tell who's strong and who's weak. Many players are wondering, is this boss truly a solo player lord? Without the backing of a major power, even the most fortunate solo player lords would find it incredibly difficult to reach this level. Perhaps a single player lord has expended all their resources to build a powerful territory. This speculation is not widely accepted. Many small and medium-sized player lords have concentrated their resources to build a powerful territory, qualifying for the top 1,000 or even 100 of the leaderboard, but breaking into the top 10 is more difficult. Could it be that the official forces of Los or Eli secretly diverted significant resources to cultivate this territory? Only players residing in the indigenous cities have the luxury of speculation. Those living outside must contend with the constant onslaught of the undead. Weapon wear, destroyed defenses and traps, and declining player energy and stamina are challenges that all Lord players must address. If not addressed quickly, casualties will continue to mount, ultimately leading to the destruction of their territory. Fortunately, these problems can all be solved with points. With enough points, they can be easily resolved. The key is that the points earned based on the territory's population aren't sufficient, even with the bonus points from battle settlements. Player lords can only selectively solve their problems. For example, Zhao Yi buys vitality potions for 1,000 points each, while other player lords choose potions for 500 points at most, with 100 being the most common. With few points, they can't afford good ones, so they can only buy inferior ones. It's not like they were useless. As long as they survive this disaster and keep their territory, they'll have what they need in the future, and the lords will have a brighter future. As the afternoon drew to a close, Zhao Yi officially topped the territory combat power rankings, a little later than expected. Cheng Jinling, unable to withstand the high number of casualties, reduced his casualties by spending more points on alchemical items. Chen state officials had originally planned to make Cheng Jinling stronger after this disaster, one of which was to accumulate more points, or in other words, reduce their point consumption. As the war situation shifted, Chen state officials were forced to adjust their plans, prioritizing defending their territory and minimizing casualties. Cheng Jinling's change of heart delayed Zhao Yiling's summit by several hours. It's Blue Star. Blue Star. Don't connect it to reality, it has no connection to reality. Also, everyone, please note, dying in the game doesn't mean you'll die in real life. Forget this, and many content will become toxic. Chapter 114 The Final Madness. Zhao Yi sat at his territory's top spot on the territory combat power rankings. With hundreds of casualties already in his territory, the casualties in other territories would likely be even higher. However, there's a distinction between baronies, viscounties, and earls. The larger the territory, the greater the population, and the more undead attacks it faces. A barony, even the largest first-class baron, has a maximum population of around 1,200, with only around 400 undead attacks. Without a lich to personally command, relying solely on a lich's remote command is practically insignificant. The scale of the battles is small, and as long as the territory is well developed, it's unlikely a single professional will be killed in a few battles. Baronies that have managed to survive the disaster have a good chance of surviving it, and even retaining more points during the disaster, gaining an opportunity for rapid growth. After the disaster, it won't be long before they can be promoted to third-class viscounty, allowing them to continue growing and gaining more benefits from the game world. Even the weakest third-class viscounties will have a stable population. Being promoted to Viscount is a symbol of territory strength, and lords strive for further advancement. Viscounts are more powerful than baronies, facing a growing force of undead hordes, and with the Lich personally commanding them. As waves of undead attack after wave, Viscounts suffer far more casualties than even the more fortified baronies. Earldoms are even more difficult to defeat. Chengjian's territory undoubtedly has the highest casualties of all player territories. Zhao Yi's territory is powerful, but many baronies have suffered far fewer casualties. The gap between territories is significant. Once a disaster is overcome, it will be difficult for the later territories to catch up, especially for territories that are heavily cultivated by player factions, which recover very quickly. Territory combat power ranking. First place is just a small goal for Zhao Yi. There are many more goals ahead, competing with a player faction in an indigenous nation. The game world is vast, and Zhao Yi's territory is only a third-class earldom. The road ahead is far from over. Zhao Yi needs to work harder to grow his territory. The battle continued, and the time between successive waves of undead continued to shrink. 7 waves attacked in the morning, and a full 9 in the afternoon. As evening approached, the situation in the affiliated villages was better, but the soldiers in Zhaochang simply didn't have enough time to rest and recuperate. Zhao Yi didn't hesitate to purchase stamina potions from the points mall. Soldiers who had depleted their stamina could quickly recover by drinking a sip of these potions. Furthermore, Zhao Yi purchased a higher-end potion, available in 2 varieties. Besides restoring stamina, it also accelerated the recovery of fighting spirit or mana to a certain extent. Mentally, he drank energy potions. Physically, he drank stamina potions. The points mall and the market offered an incredible variety of potions, offering a wide range of uses. Any problem facing the territory could be solved with points, and Zhao Yi happened to have plenty of them. For example, the flying undead, which had just appeared during the disaster, and the subsequent air cavalry, a combination of skeleton archers and flying monster skeletons. The undead sky troopers shoot from high above, their bone arrows increasing in range and power. However, the arrows fired by human archers into the sky by the undead sky troopers have reduced range, making the black iron and bronze bows commonly equipped by archers incapable of hitting them. Silver, gold, and platinum tier crossbows are relatively scarce, and they also have to deal with the second and third tier undead. Zhao Yi found a type of extended range explosive arrow in the points mall. While the bow remains the same, the arrows can be launched further. Of course, the price is significantly higher than regular explosive arrows. Extended range explosive arrows are also available in the market. Initially, Zhao Yi considered purchasing them to deal with the skeleton archers, but ultimately opted to upgrade his archers' weapons. While there are multiple ways to eliminate the undead sky troopers in the sky, Zhao Yi chose the extended range explosive arrows as the most convenient method, primarily due to his large number of archers and archers under his command. As time went on, incidents occurred in the affiliated villages, leading to further undead attacks. One rescue team was sufficient, but due to the distance involved, they were sometimes too late to arrive. By the time the rescue team arrived, the affiliated villages had already eliminated the attacking undead. Ideally, the affiliated villages would have eliminated all the attacking undead themselves, but even with the consumption of numerous alchemical tools, this still resulted in casualties. If the rescue team had arrived sooner, casualties would have been minimized. Even after their arrival, the rescue team couldn't leave immediately. They needed to eliminate at least 2 waves of undead in the affiliated villages before they could leave. Perhaps Zhaochang had also experienced an incident, with additional undead joining the attack, but the undead attacking Zhaochang were already numerous, and a single additional wave wouldn't have made a significant difference. Persevere. Perseverance is victory. The undead are so rampant, this disaster won't last long. Destroy a few more waves of undead, and the cloud of disaster will dissipate. On the Zhaochang defense line and in the 9 affiliated villages, officers frequently chanted similar slogans to boost morale. While these slogans were meant to boost morale, they also held a certain truth. The Blue Star players had only been on the Origin continent for a few dozen days, and this was their first encounter with a disaster. This was no stranger to the professionals under Zhao Yi. Previous disasters had lasted from 3 to 5 days, with waves of undead descending upon the indigenous cities. However, initially, the interval between waves was at least 3 hours, gradually decreasing to less than 30 minutes. This time, the disaster struck suddenly, and the intervals between waves were 1 hour. By the second night, The intervals were less than 45 minutes, and by the second half of the night, they were less than 30 minutes. Joanna, Elliot, and others speculated that this disaster might only last 2 days, with a calamity cloud dissipating at the next sunrise. Based on past experience, many indigenous people shared similar assumptions, especially the leaders of various indigenous factions. They had previously concluded that the sudden onset of the disaster was caused by a hero from another world. The undead leaders wanted to eliminate the hero from another world, thus bringing about the disaster. Furthermore, creating a calamity cloud that would cover the entire sky of the origin continent was not something they could simply create. They also needed a large amount of rare materials from the realm of the dead. The premature disaster, coupled with insufficient preparations, meant the clouds of doom covered the sky for 2 days at most. Perhaps some high-ranking undead had simply used their private reserves. The hasty disaster, coupled with a desire to eliminate as many otherworldly heroes as possible, effectively shortened the interval between waves of the undead within the constraints of the rules. For now, at least, this premature disaster has largely fulfilled the undead's plan. The number of otherworldly heroes' territories on the origin continent has been significantly reduced, and a significant number of the remaining territories have suffered heavy losses. Players, having gathered intelligence from the indigenous population, have shared it on the forums, urging the remaining player lords to persevere, believing that perseverance is the key to victory. The second half of the night is approaching, and the final frenzy of the undead is about to begin. Many more players will fall before dawn. Chapter 115 Air Defense War. On the battlefield of Zhaocheng, another battle concluded. The defenders had eliminated all the incoming undead at the cost of one man's life. With only one casualty, this battle was relatively easy compared to yesterday's and today's battles. Had the fallen soldier been more cautious, perhaps his death might have been avoided. With the battle over, the soldiers quickly retreated to the first line of defense. Their rest period was brief, less than 5 minutes. Feeling mentally exhausted, they drank energy potions. Physically exhausted or hungry, they drank stamina potions. They quickly recovered and prepared to face the next wave of undead. Before the assassins returned to report on the next wave of undead, Zhao Yi, standing on the high platform, could already spot them from afar. They were undead air cavalry, numbering over 2,500. While the assassins were fast, they couldn't match the Sorn undead air cavalry, and naturally, they couldn't report the next wave of undead in advance. Seeing that they were undead air cavalry, Zhao Yi remained calm and immediately dispatched his orders, commanding all archers and cavalry archers to prepare their extended-range explosive arrows and the mage towers to cast their magic shields. From yesterday morning until now, only one of Zhao Yi's rank 0 archers had been accidentally killed. Over 800 archers and horse archers still remained in the army defending Zhao City, already comprising over 1/3 of the troops. At Zhao Yi's command, over 800 archers and horse archers drew their extended-range explosive arrows, placed them in front of them where they could most easily reach them, and placed one on their bow, ready for battle. The mage tower also prepared to release a magic shield at any moment. If the undead Sky Riders flew directly over Zhao City from high above and swooped down, the archers and horse archers would not be able to eliminate them all in a short period of time. Zhao City only had a few professional warriors, and a large number of non-professionals. A surge of undead Sky Riders would have been enough to cause a river of bloodshed. Fortunately, the mage tower was there, activating a magic shield to prevent the undead Sky Riders from invading Zhao City. The undead Sky Riders were drawing closer, posing a far greater threat than the equally numerous undead Land Riders. Their number was less than 3,000, yet they seemed to obscure the sky and the sun. The main issue is the unusual nature of the undead Sky Troopers' mounts. While undead Land Troopers typically mount normal horses, the Sky Troopers' mounts, thanks to their wings, are substantial, and even with their wings folded, they remain relatively modest. The undead Sky Troopers are in a commanding position, their mounts providing ample protection for the cavalry. To eliminate them, the mounts must be eliminated first. Explosive arrows, designed for single-target attacks, struggle to simultaneously eliminate both the cavalry and their mounts. At most, the cavalry will sustain minor injuries, though a fall from the sky wouldn't necessarily kill them outright, while a Tier 0 undead would likely suffer a fatal fall. As the undead Sky Troopers approached, a number of approximately 600 of them began to descend, their bone bows and arrows revealing their identities. More undead Sky Troopers maintained their altitude, descending towards Zhaocheng. After dozens of days of fighting, Zhao Yi had become quite adept at discerning the undead's intentions. A number of undead sky cavalry, capable of melee combat, were directly attacking Zhao Chen. A smaller number of undead archers were either eliminating the human professionals or perhaps trying to pin them down, creating an opening for the undead sky cavalry attacking Zhao Chen. As the undead archers drew closer to Zhao Cheng's primary defenses, they entered the attack range of the human archers and horse archers. Using his platinum bow, Zhao Yi fired a standard super explosive arrow at the lone tier 3 undead knight in the sky. Immediately following, over 400 extended range explosive arrows were unleashed upon the undead archers. Hundreds of undead mounts, their souls extinguished or severely damaged, plummeted from the sky, along with their riders. By the time the human archers and horse archers unleashed their second wave of extended range explosive arrows, a large group of undead sky cavalry had already reached Zhao Chen. Following the third wave of extended range explosive arrows, the undead sky cavalry began to swoop down on Zhao Chen. After the continuous explosions of the third wave of extended range explosive arrows, only a few dozen undead archers remained aloft. Facing the massive undead aerial cavalry swooping towards Zhao Chen, all archers and archers on the north, east, and west lines unleashed a barrage of extended range explosive arrows. 3/4 of the archers and archers on the front lines also shifted their targets. Under the onslaught of over 700 extended range explosive arrows, hundreds of undead aerial cavalry went from diving to free-falling. In just 3 seconds, over 1,000 of them were in free-fall. Just as the still swooping undead aerial cavalry were about to burst into Zhao Chen, a faint blue beam of light shot out from the top of the mage tower, extending approximately 3 meters. It then transformed into a sky curtain, a magical shield, like an inverted bowl, enveloping Zhao Chen. While Zhao Chen was enveloped, the first line of defense, the area surrounding the city walls, remained. Archers and archers continued their attack, and the magic shield blocked all incoming and outgoing attacks. Just as the magic shield enveloped Zhao City, hundreds of undead sky riders crashed directly into it. The magic shield released by the mage tower served more than just a defensive purpose. Enemies struck by it would inflict magical damage and be repelled. Even if the undead sky riders didn't die, they would be severely injured. They would eventually bounce back to the ground, leaving only a handful of them able to stand up. The human archers and horse archers continued their attacks. The mage tower's energy reserves wouldn't hold the shield open for much longer, so the undead in the sky had to be eliminated as quickly as possible. To prevent any unforeseen consequences, Zhao Yi allocated half of his magic crystals to the mage tower. If the energy pool was running low, he could use them to replenish his energy. Soon, the free-falling undead sky riders also collided with the shield, suffering secondary damage. Their mounts were all killed, and their riders were severely damaged by the shield. After several waves of arrows, the undead sky riders in the sky were reduced to fewer than 300. Some of the archers turned their attention to attacking the undead that had crashed to the ground. It was a remarkably easy battle, lasting less than 10 minutes from start to finish, followed by a 20-minute rest period for the professionals. However, the battle was marred by numerous incidents, including 5 casualties, 1 first-tier warrior, 4 zero-tier warriors, and even more critically injured. These casualties were primarily first-tier and second-tier undead, catapulted to the ground by the magical shield and left critically injured and dying. Normally, all second-tier undead and most first-tier undead would be destroyed before they could enter the outermost trap area. The fact that only 5 human casualties were lost was a shocking development for the Lich commanding the battle. The low number of zombies was simply due to their low numbers, while the low number of undead air cavalry was due to their elite status among the undead. It was not surprising that such an elite force could not breach the human city. The Lich could not imagine expending such an elite undead air cavalry unit only to inflict so few casualties on the humans. Clearly, Zhao Cheng's easy victory over an elite undead force was largely due to Zhao Yi's ultimate weapon, the Mage Tower. It's a pity that the Mage Tower accumulates energy too slowly. If it accumulates energy faster, the Mage Tower can be deployed in every battle, and the number of casualties in Zhao Cheng will definitely be sharply reduced. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 116 The Magic Cannon unleashes its power. Zhao Yi wasn't the only player territory to encounter the undead air cavalry. Viscount territories and above encountered them. Cheng Jinling, at the same rank as Zhao Yi, was particularly affected by a wave of undead composed entirely of air cavalry. Those territories that managed to hold out were naturally not easily defeated by the undead air cavalry and quickly devised countermeasures. However, the undead air cavalry's superiority over ground troops inflicted significant losses on various territories, with some territories ultimately being destroyed by the undead air cavalry. Cheng Jinling faced an entire army of undead air cavalry, suffering the loss of over 50 men before securing victory. During the promotion battle for a third-rank earldom, Cheng Jinling briefly lost his first place. During the disaster, he lost his first place for the second time. With the ongoing disaster, Cheng Jinling is even facing the prospect of losing his second place. Territory promotion expands territory, accommodating a larger population, increasing strength, and enabling the development of specific industries. As the territory rises, it also faces increasingly powerful undead. If Cheng Jinling had still been a first-class viscount, the casualties during the disaster would have been much lower. There are no ifs and buts. Now that Cheng Jinling has been promoted, he must face reality. The sacrifice of so many excellent soldiers pained Lord Cheng Jin deeply. They were the foundation of the territory's strength, yet they perished before his eyes. To defend against the undead, sacrifices were necessary. Cheng Jin was heartbroken, but few of the fallen soldiers complained before their deaths. They knew that if the game world died, their own lives on Blue Planet would not be lost as well. In fact, their lives on Blue Planet would be extended by the game world's upgrades. It might be premature to die now, but fighting alone was simply not as fast as in Cheng Jinling. The leveling speed was vastly superior. Perhaps even if they died alone, they would never reach the level they were at before their death, especially for a first-class professional. For a solo player, even a level 1 advancement stone would be extremely difficult to obtain. In Cheng Jinling, as soon as they reached a certain level, they could queue up to use advancement stones. The only regret was that my otherworldly experience was so short, ending after just 30 days. The clouds of doom in the sky hadn't dissipated, and the battle raged on. By the second half of the second night, the time between successive waves of undead was shrinking. Even in a powerful territory like Zhao Yi's, the next wave would appear as soon as one was vanquished, leaving the human professionals no time to rest. They could only hurriedly guzzle energy potions and stamina potions to stay in shape and face the coming enemy. The undead had entered their final frenzy, with the proportion of first, second, and third tier undead increasing. The most direct result was a growing demand for intermediate, high, and super-level explosive arrows by the archers and cavalry archers. The Lich, who had been commanding the undead army, was a bit frantic. Even if the enemy's main city in the otherworldly hero's territory was formidable, it wouldn't have lost so few men just yet, barely impacting their strength. The Lich refused to give up, continuing to command wave after wave of undead. Perhaps humanity had reached its limit, and the next wave, would inflict a heavy blow. The Lich didn't realize that the resilient human city he faced was one of the most solidly established domains among the otherworldly warriors. They had made ample preparations before the disaster struck, and afterward, they had a wealth of points to draw upon. While a disaster for other player lords, it was an opportunity for Zhao Yi to soar. However, Zhao Yi remained unfazed and faced each wave of undead with dedication, preferring to expend more points to minimize casualties. Zhao Yi had lost count of how many waves of undead he had slain that day. His keen sense of time made it seem as if a new day was approaching, as a new wave of undead appeared within sight. This new wave of undead was formidable, numbering over 6,000, with 2 elite cavalry units, 1 air cavalry unit, and 1 land cavalry unit, each numbering around 500. Most importantly, this wave comprised over 20% of the undead at the first level, over 2% of the undead at the second level, nearly 20 at the third level, and a third-level Lich in command. Dawn is almost here. This might be the last wave of undead. Faced with the overwhelmingly powerful undead army, Zhao Yi made a guess. This wave of undead was powerful, but fortunately, no 4th-tier undead had appeared. The 3rd-tier Lich had to be eliminated first. With a 3rd-tier Lich dead, even if other Liches were remotely controlling it, they could only provide cursory command, unable to unleash the full power of the undead army. How should he eliminate this 3rd-tier Lich? The Mage Tower could unleash a third-tier spell, multiple archers could unleash super explosive arrows, or perhaps he could bring out the small, unused mana cannon. Seeing the third-tier Lich surrounded by a ring of third-tier undead and several rings of second-tier undead, the chances of using super explosive arrows to eliminate it seemed slim. The Mage Tower also needed to be ready to cast a magic shield. Ultimately, Zhao Yi opted for the relatively cost-effective small mana cannon. Although Zhao Yi had never used a small magic cannon before, his experience with magic guns meant he had no trouble manipulating a small magic cannon from the same series. Most importantly, the small magic cannon had a wide attack range. Zhao Yi intended to destroy the Lich and its guards with a single strike. He consumed 10 mid-grade magic crystals, equivalent to 1,000 low-grade magic crystals, to charge the small magic cannon, which took about 10 seconds to complete. He aimed at the third-level Lich and fired. The third-level Lich, still 700 or 800 meters from Zhao Cheng, suddenly sensed danger and immediately cast a defensive spell, deploying third-level and second-level undead to protect it. The next moment, a pale blue energy beam, 50 millimeters in diameter, struck the chest of a second-level undead, only 3 body lengths away. The energy beam pierced through 2 second-level undead before being blocked by a third-level skeleton in front of the Lich. As the energy gathered, it exploded with a bang. In a violent explosion, the Tier 3 Lich, along with a ring of Tier 3 undead and several Tier 2 undead, was completely shattered. This small magical cannon, even at its lowest power, had a chance of killing Tier 4 human professionals and Tier 4 undead. Zhao Yi wasn't particularly surprised by the mere fact that it only killed a few dozen Tier 3 and Tier 2 undead. The Tier 4 Lich in the cemetery was furious and wanted to attack directly, but due to restrictions, it was forced to remain in the cemetery. Zhao Yi took command of the undead army and directed it towards Zhao Cheng. Undead air cavalry assaulted Zhao Cheng from the sky, while land cavalry circled the city, ready to attack from one direction at any moment. The remaining half of the undead attacked from the front, splitting into 2 groups to advance on the left and right sides of Zhao Cheng. This was the best effort of the Tier 4 Lich under remote command, but its own exhaustion was immense, and it was essentially unable to change the undead army's tactics. With a small mana cannon in hand, Zhao Yi didn't immediately put it down after destroying the third-tier Lich. Instead, he continued to draw magic crystals to charge the small mana cannon and fired a volley at the undead sky troopers. The energy beam penetrated before exploding, instantly annihilating the only third-tier undead among the undead sky troopers. It also killed or severely damaged at least 50 of the surrounding undead sky troopers, nearly a third of whom sustained injuries. Soldiers on all 4 defensive lines were ready to throw intermediate alchemical bombs at any moment against the undead land troopers roaming the periphery. Chapter 117's Evaluation. The undead land cavalry moved. After circling Zhao Cheng and circling northeast, they suddenly turned toward the city and charged straight at it. As the undead territory cavalry approached, some of the archers and horse archers on the platform shifted their targets, firing arrows at the undead cavalry. This wasn't enough. After losing dozens of Tier 2 and Tier 1 undead, the undead cavalry were less than 20 meters from Zhao Cheng's outermost trap zone. The next second, 2 intermediate alchemical bombs struck the charging undead cavalry's front platoon. The mages instantly detonated the bombs. The 2 intermediate alchemical bombs exploded, wiping out all the Tier 1 and Tier 0 undead within an area exceeding 400 square meters. They also killed 2 Tier 2 undead, injured several others, and even sustained minor injuries to the Tier 3 Dark Knight. The Tier 3 Dark Knight was in the greatest danger. A Tier 2 archer on the platform used the homing arrow skill to fire a super explosive arrow at the Tier 3 Dark Knight. The arrow hit the target directly, severely wounding the Tier 3 Dark Knight. Immediately afterwards, 2 first-tier archers each fired a high-level explosive arrow, finally destroying the third-tier Dark Knight. With the third-tier Dark Knight dead, 2 more intermediate-level alchemical bombs decimated the remaining less than 300 undead land cavalry. Simultaneously with the undead land cavalry's shift, the undead air cavalry also shifted. Having been ravaged by the small magic cannon, the undead air cavalry split in 2, some attempting to fire arrows at the human professionals defending the line, while others attempted to swoop into Zhao Cheng. With 2 elite cavalry units simultaneously attacking, and with battlefield undead attacking from all sides, a less powerful territory would likely suffer heavy losses in this battle. However, Zhao Cheng was formidable, having previously eliminated over 2,500 air cavalry attacks with minimal effort. They showed no fear of 2 undead cavalry units totaling only 1,000. Some archers used extended-range explosive arrows to attack the undead archers who came within range. As another undead air cavalry unit swooped down on Zhao Yi, the mage tower quickly activated its magic shield. The relentless undead sky troopers rammed the magic shield one after another, suffering magical damage and being repelled. After repelling all the undead sky troopers, the mage tower deactivated the magic shield. Activating the magic shield consumes a significant amount of energy, and the impact of the undead sky troopers consumes even more energy. After using the mage tower several times today, the energy pool was running low. Further use required the use of magic crystals. In a short period of time, both elite undead cavalry units were on the verge of annihilation. The Lich, having lost all hope of inflicting a significant blow or even destroying Zhao City, abandoned the remaining undead to their doom. With the demise of all the 3rd and 2nd tier undead in the undead army, and the vast majority of the 1st tier undead also slain, the battle entered its second half. The warriors emerged from the first line of defense and attacked the remaining undead. Zhao Yi stopped firing his arrows and surveyed the battlefield. His gaze drifted off into the distance, and he noticed something strange in the distant sky. The dark clouds of disaster seemed to have faded slightly. Was it an illusion? Zhao Yi asked everyone around him to observe the sky. Everyone felt the same. The clouds of doom were thinning, about to dissipate. Cheers suddenly erupted from the defense line. The clouds of doom are dissipating. We've won. Victory. Victory, for the indigenous people of the origin continent. Every time the sky was enveloped by clouds of doom, it was a devastating disaster, devouring countless lives. The clouds of doom symbolize death. Every successful escape from a disaster felt like a rebirth, and everyone celebrated by taking out all the goodies they could. The cheers lifted the morale of the warriors battling the remaining undead, giving them even more energy to kill. The clouds of doom would soon dissipate, and a new day was about to dawn. Zhao Yi didn't forget his perfected 2nd-level archer class. It was better to be safe. He hadn't yet eliminated all the undead on the battlefield. If he advanced now, the arrival of the 4th-level undead would be a problem. Soon, as the last undead on the battlefield was eliminated, Zhao Yi immediately used the level 3 advancement stone, becoming the first Tier 3 professional in the territory. Less than 5 minutes after Zhao Yi achieved Tier 3 status, as the clouds of doom dissipated, the system panel popped up. You won 10 battles, you eliminated 345,717 undead, you lost 164 soldiers. Zhao Town battle rating S, Tishi village battle rating C, 2nd village battle rating C, points increased by 104.5%, professional experience increased by 104.5%, received 1 diamond treasure chest and 9 gold treasure chests, archer class upgrade. Seeing the S rating in diamond treasure chest made Zhao Yi's heart beat wildly, his excitement even greater than the dissipation of the doom cloud in his final victory. An S rating, 1 level higher than an A rating, and a diamond treasure chest, 1 level higher than a crystal treasure chest. Of the over 300,000 undead slain yesterday, over 200,000 were killed in this Haochang battlefield alone, with each of the affiliated villages slaying around 15,000. Every battlefield saw casualties, and the affiliated villages, barely earning a B rating, were downgraded to a C rating. However, the Zhaochang battlefield saw over 200,000 undead slain, a significant number, and while the casualties lowered its rating, they didn't completely reduce it to an S rating. Zhao Yi was certain the diamond chest would contain only 1 diamond card. God of creation and life, may I find something good? Zhao Yi prayed silently. Besides the diamond chest, Zhao Yi felt the most important thing he could do was to use the level 3 advancement stone to become a level 3 archer before the dawn of a new day. The battle rewarded a 104.5% bonus to class experience, more than doubling it. The archer class would soon reach level 33. If they hadn't chosen to advance, their level would have remained stuck at level 29, 100%, wasting so much experience and leaving them feeling incredibly regretful. Zhao Yi suspected some players hadn't chosen the advancement option in time, wasting their experience. Perhaps I've already reached the top of the class rankings, Zhao Yi speculated. While Zhao Yi didn't resort to any means to gain experience and level up like some other players, he diligently killed enemies in every battle. Add to that the fact that all players were previously stuck at level 29, 100%. and the fact that he received what was arguably the highest class experience bonus after battle. 2 more first-place achievements were achieved so quickly: first place in the comprehensive class ranking, and first place in the archer class ranking. Zhao Yi didn't bother checking the rankings or forums, instead cheering with his soldiers. Having survived another disaster alive, everyone cheered and hugged each other. Even Joanna excitedly hugged Zhao Yi, no shyness, no embarrassment, her face radiating the joy of having survived a disaster. The cheers from outside the city reached the city walls. The residents, who had been following the battle closely, emerged from their houses, enjoying the sunlight they hadn't seen in 2 days, and joined in the cheers. Many people burst into tears as they cheered, feeling the joy of being alive. The author is good at telling a story in a straightforward manner. Chapter 118, Dragon Knight. It's not easy. The cloud of disaster has finally dissipated. After 2 days of continuous fighting, half of my professionals have died, and the remaining professionals are all injured. All the points have been used up, and I only got an E rating. The 30% point bonus is not a small amount. If you can't kill me, I will become stronger in the future. A total of 24 batches of undead attacked the day before yesterday, and a total of 36 batches of undead attacked yesterday, which is more than the total number of batches of undead that attacked every day before the disaster. Tired, really tired. It seems like I slept all day long. It hurts to spend so many points in 2 days, but there are also a lot of points left. Give me a few days, and the territory can be promoted to a 3rd-class Viscount, and I will be a big boss in the future. I feel sorry for Cheng Jinling, who has dropped to 3rd place again. It is estimated that he will not be able to get the 1st place throne back this time. Lucky Sun 413, Big Boss is invincible. In the forum, the players in the players' territory sighed for successfully surviving the disaster, and few talked about the battle settlement evaluation. Zhao Yi's S rating is unique among all Blue Star players. There are few players with an A rating below that, but Cheng Jin, despite having slain many undead and suffered heavy casualties, didn't receive one. Instead, some Viscounts with strong foundations and few casualties received an A rating. The disaster is over, and after a few days of recuperation, they might be able to attempt to advance to 3rd-class earldom. B rating, which allows access to platinum chests, has increased in popularity. This is primarily due to the many Viscounts who suffered heavy losses and well-established baronies, like Zhao Yi's affiliated villages. Territories with strong foundations suffered minimal losses during the disaster, leaving them with ample points. The disaster gave these player territories the opportunity to rise, sprinting towards viscountships and earldoms. However, some player lords with F ratings, or even the worst G ratings, have seen their territories severely damaged by the undead hordes, on the verge of destruction. Most importantly, many of their professionals have perished in battle, and the families of those who died are still alive, becoming a huge burden on the territories, neither keeping them nor abandoning them. These player lords were determined. Battle settlements offered a 20% or 10% bonus on points, equivalent to the points earned from destroying 8 or 4 waves of undead. With so many points in hand, they might as well abandon their current territory and all their personnel, move to a new location, and build a new territory from scratch. Starting afresh offered a much greater chance of reaching new heights. Of course, the forums were filled with envious and resentful comments from a handful of players residing in the indigenous cities. They wished these players, many times more advanced than themselves, would be completely wiped out by the undead, freeing up space for them. The forums were abuzz with activity. Zhao Yi hadn't realized that even though the battle was over, it wasn't time to rest yet, at least not for him, as a lord. Under Zhao Yi's orders, most professionals were to go home and sleep, often until noon or even afternoon, to rest up. Only a few personnel remained on patrol and on guard duty. Even Joanna and Elliot, who had already reached the 2nd level, were given a morning's rest before using their advancement stones to advance to the 3rd level. Zhao Yi currently has a reserve of advancement stones, 1 level 6 advancement stone, 2 level 4 advancement stones, 3 level 3 advancement stones, 8 level 2 advancement stones, and 15 level 1 advancement stones. The level 6 and level 4 advancement stones are not yet needed, and 10 level 1 advancement stones are reserved for the Tree of Life seeds. The remaining advancement stones will be consumed today. After 2 consecutive days of fighting, the archers and cavalry archers, who are the mainstays of the battle, as well as those with better talent, have reached the full experience level of their respective levels and are ready to advance. However, Advancing to the next level is not a simple task for most professionals, requiring time to overcome bottlenecks. Zhao Yi has a few advancement stones, but they are far from enough to meet everyone's needs, forcing them to queue up to use them. Those with higher military ranks can jump the queue, or Zhao Yi will reserve advancement stones for private use. It is best to achieve breakthroughs without using advancement stones. To achieve breakthroughs quickly and independently, one must possess high talent, at least 3 stars or higher. 4-star Space Mage Ignaz, upon reaching the second level, achieved a breakthrough without pause. Both Ignaz and 3-star Archer Mars were rapidly catching up to those ahead. The battlefield still needed to be cleaned up, damaged defenses reset, and traps and the undead corpses trapped within them dealt with. Let sunlight shine for a few hours to purify the aura of death before sending in the non-professionals. The battle had just ended, and the professionals were exhausted. All plans made and in progress before the disaster were postponed until tomorrow. After arranging the supplies needed for the day, only 2 most important tasks remained: treasure chest opening and recruiting. If it weren't for the recruitment scrolls that could be found in treasure chests, opening treasure chests would have been put on hold. 1 diamond chest and 9 gold chests. Zhao Yi was now even more excited than when he opened the crystal chest twice. This diamond chest was a level higher than the crystal chest, and he wondered what treasures would be found within. With a trembling right hand, he clicked on the treasure chest, then the single diamond chest, opening it. 64 cards popped out, and Zhao Yi could select 8 of them. He examined each card one by one. With each card he looked at, Zhao Yi's excitement grew. This was the first diamond chest to appear among the billions of blue star players. He scanned the chest thoroughly, and sure enough, there was only 1 diamond card, a mere 3 crystal cards, 5 platinum cards, and 9 gold cards. If it weren't for the 1 diamond card, it would have been even worse than the crystal chest he'd opened yesterday, which had 7 crystal cards. Excited by the treasures within the diamond chest, Zhao Yi took a deep breath, examined it carefully again, and then selected each of the 8 cards. 1 diamond card, Dragon Knight class advancement scroll. 2 crystal cards, small demiplane, and 3-star, level 3 nature mage recruitment scroll. 3 platinum cards, small teleportation array 3, tier 2 swordsman recruitment scroll 15. Platinum dagger. 2 gold cards, tier 2 archer recruitment scroll 4, level 4 advancement stone. After opening the diamond treasure chest, Zhao Yi opened 9 gold treasure chests. After opening each gold treasure chest, he found that all of them were of the best quality, with 5 gold cards in them. After opening 9 gold treasure chests, Zhao Yi also found a large number of professional recruitment scrolls, gold and silver tier weapons, advancement stones, buildings, and more. 2 of the recruitment scrolls caught Zhao Yi's attention, a tier 1 alchemist recruitment scroll and a 3-star archer recruitment scroll. Chapter 119 Demiplane. After opening all 10 treasure chests, Zhao Yi opened his card pack and gazed at the treasures within. His excitement wouldn't subside. The Dragon Knight class transfer scroll was the best item ever found in this treasure chest, arguably the highest level and best item he'd ever found since entering the game. Before the Dragon Knight class transfer scroll, Zhao Yi had obtained 2 other class transfer scrolls, the Ice Mage class transfer scroll and the Magic Archer class transfer scroll. Both of these classes were gold tier, mediocre among specialized classes, and Zhao Yi had no desire to pursue them. Now that the Diamond Tier Dragon Knight class transfer scroll had appeared, Zhao Yi's thoughts on the class transfer began to waver. An S rating wasn't the highest possible, and a diamond treasure chest wasn't the highest either. He might receive higher tier chests in the future, revealing even better classes. However, to achieve a higher rating than S, Zhao Yi estimated that he would need to destroy over 1 million undead in a single battlefield in a single day, while maintaining a low casualty count on his side. Xiaocheng's population currently stands at less than 18,000, with no more than 6,000 undead attacks per night. Due to a sudden disaster, 36 waves of undead attacked in a single day, and despite minimal casualties, Zhao Yi finally achieved an S-level rank. It's unclear when he'll ever reach an S level again, let alone anything above that. For a considerable period of time, the Dragon Knight class advancement scroll will be the highest level class Zhao Yi can obtain from a treasure chest. There are 5 dragon-related classes on the Origin continent: Dragon Knight, Dragon Warlock, Dragon Knight, Dragon Warlock, and the legendary Dragon Speaker. Dragon Knights are considered a high-end class on the Origin continent, relatively rare, with exceptionally high growth potential. Even the most humble Dragon Knight can be granted the title of third-class Earl upon joining a nation. The Origin continent boasts a great power, the Black Dragon Empire. Every emperor of the Black Dragon Empire has been either a Black Dragon Knight or Black Dragon Warlock. In some nations, there are also Dragon Knight Grand Dukes and Dragon Warlock Grand Dukes. Due to their class and strength, Dragon Knights hold a high status on the Origin continent. The Dragon Knight also suited Zhao Yi's requirements. He possessed a certain talent for marksmanship, so he chose the marksman class at the start. His territory was always dominated by marksmen, and the marksman class allowed Zhao Yi to maintain a high leveling rate. A high-end class like the Dragon Knight, soaring through the sky on a dragon, inevitably involved archery. By switching to the Dragon Knight class, Zhao Yi could incorporate the marksman class directly into his class, rather than having to work with it as a dual role. Having two classes simultaneously meant that experience gained had to be split between them, slowing down his leveling. With each class at level 8, there was no such thing as a total of 16 levels, and even a level 10 class wouldn't be viable. Among the indigenous people, possessing two combat classes at once was rare, save for the exceptionally gifted. The Dragon Knight's companion and even companion, possessed a natural knack for both magic and martial arts, and was nearly invincible against its peers. As a Dragon Knight, everything the dragon possessed belonged to the Dragon Knight, and in a 2-on-1 situation, the Dragon Knight could achieve near invincibility. Wait, does the Dragon Knight class change give you a dragon? Zhao Yi faced a huge dilemma. If the Dragon Knight class change didn't give you a dragon, what kind of Dragon Knight was it? The Dragon Island, covering tens of millions of square kilometers in the ocean, the exclusive home of dragons, had been decimated by the undead army, resulting in a large increase in the number of high-level dragon-like creatures like bone dragons and ghost dragons. The dragon race on the Origin continent would definitely not be destroyed. After all, their overall strength was second only to that of the human race, and they had some hidden tricks up their sleeves, so preserving their heritage was a sure thing. Furthermore, the Dragon Knight class change scroll was obtained from a treasure chest. It wouldn't be like they didn't even give you a dragon. The Dragon Knight class change scroll was the best item from the treasure chest today, followed closely by the small demi-plane. Xiaocheng, the main city of Zhao Yi's territory, was only a small, third-level city, covering 1 square kilometer and accommodating a normal population of 30,000. Beyond that, the city would become increasingly crowded. This standard was actually established under the influence of the undead plague. The city was used as a stronghold whenever possible to protect as many humans as possible, leading to an even greater influx of people into the already spacious city. The current population density of cities is undoubtedly extremely overcrowded compared to pre-plague cities, but under the plague, this is a necessary evil. Civilians, faced with cramped living quarters, endured the pain of living, believing it was better than death. The average land area per person in the city was already so limited, yet they had to cultivate as many plants as possible to provide food, wood, and other necessities. Adding the natural mages, they could barely meet the food needs of all humans, while taverns were everywhere in the indigenous cities. Alcohol prices were undoubtedly significantly higher than before the plague, but this was still acceptable for high-income professionals. Providing a sufficient supply of alcohol required a significant amount of grain. While brewing consumed a significant amount of grain, it didn't affect the food supply of the lower classes. This was due to the demi-plane. The Origin continent is located on the prime material plane. Demi-planes are dependent on the prime material plane, but exist in separate dimensions. Most demi-planes are habitable and capable of agriculture as long as there is air circulation. Some even have special minerals that can be mined. Because a demi-plane is dependent on the main plane, its owner can, at their will, allow sunlight from the main plane to shine through, creating a sun in their own sky. Those who disregard the main plane's sun can create their own light source. Many indigenous factions on the Origin continent possess demi-planes of varying sizes, with the top factions even possessing extra-large ones. Demi-planes under 10 square kilometers are considered micro-demi-planes. Those between 10 and 1,000 square kilometers are small. Those between 1,000 and 100,000 square kilometers are medium. Those between 100,000 and 10 million square kilometers are large. And those exceeding 10 million square kilometers are extra-large. Extra-large planes are so vast, they can accommodate vast tracts of farmland in a large population. This is the foundation of a nation or faction, and one of the reasons the indigenous peoples of the origin continent were able to persevere during the plague of the undead. The demiplane Zhao Yi had opened was only a small one, ranging in size from 10 to 1,000 square kilometers. It all depended on luck. The largest demiplane he had opened would be roughly equivalent to the land area of 2 third-class earldoms. More importantly, on the origin continent, only the land inside the city walls was clean. The land outside was infested with the aura of death, making agriculture unsuitable and the water undrinkable. Demiplanes, on the other hand, were unaffected, offering vast tracts of land for utilization. While Zhao Yi couldn't determine the exact size of the demiplane he had opened, he had already envisioned some of its uses. It could be used for housing, agricultural production, livestock breeding, and even for relocating important facilities like alchemy workshops. However, not everyone could live there. The population should primarily be non-professionals, primarily engaged in production. Professionals would remain on the origin continent, relying on slaying undead to rapidly level up and increase their strength. Only professionals who had reached perfection at their current level and couldn't immediately break through were allowed to enter the demi-plane. Without leveling up, even killing undead wouldn't earn them experience. As for transferring all non-combatants to the demi-plane before nightfall, it's highly undesirable. After all, with fewer people, the aura of life will be weaker, and fewer undead will arrive. An idea quickly occurred to Zhao Yi. In the past 2 days, 237 professionals in the territory have died in battle. With the pillars of their families gone, they're a burden on the territory. Transferring them all to the demiplane could be considered a form of compensation for the families of the deceased professionals. Both professions and demiplanes are quite important, and describing them would take too long, so I'd rather finish them in one chapter. Helpless. Chapter 120 Regret. A note, as everyone knows, the protagonist's IQ is equal to the author's. However, there's a problem: the author forgot about the Legion skills. Legion skills should be purchased after the first day of the disaster, when points are high. Please see if this chapter's remedy is acceptable. If not, the author will consider revising the previous chapter. Let's put the job transfers on hold. Zhao Yi needs to recruit today's personnel first. With the dissipation of the calamity cloud, the teleportation array can be used again, allowing for further recruitment. The territory is busy today, so Zhao Yi doesn't plan to recruit too many. With over 14 million points, he can only recruit Tier 3 swordsmen, which would allow for at least 140, but there's no need for that at the moment. It's just an earldom, so we need to recruit Tier 0, Tier 1, Tier 2, and Tier 3 professionals. We need both quantity and quality. Seeing the point total, Zhao Yi suddenly remembered something. He simply opened the points mall and searched for Legion skills. Sure enough, the cheapest Legion skill had increased from 300,000 points to 1 million. At that moment, regret was overwhelming Zhao Yi. The prices of many items in the points mall change based on the player's combat class tier. Zhao Yi, intent on quickly leveling up and avoiding wasted experience, forgot to purchase something crucial to his territory: Legion skills. Now at Tier 3, even the most basic Legion skills cost 1 million points. With 14 million points, Zhao Yi could afford them, yet he felt a bit reluctant. Not only was Zhao Yi reluctant to spend his points on Legion skills, but other players felt the same way. If you were still Tier 2, Zhao Yi could have spent at least a third of his points on Legion skills. At Tier 3, these skills would increase in value by at least 3 times. After a moment's reflection, Zhao Yi decided to purchase Legion skills, even though 1 million points could recruit 10,000 Tier 0 swordsmen, 1,000 Tier 1 swordsmen, 100 Tier 2 swordsmen, or 10 Tier 3 swordsmen. When a territory's army is small, Legion skills offer little value, but as its strength grows, their importance increases. After a quick look, Zhao Yi clicked to purchase the cheapest Legion skill, ambidextrous, which effectively boosted his territory's strength. Its primary effect increased the rate of his archers, including cavalry archers, etc., by 10%, with no additional stamina consumption. Just after purchasing ambidextrous, Zhao Yi was shocked to discover that the price of Legion skills had doubled again. Zhao Yi had a curse on his lips, something he'd never heard of, nor had he seen on the forums. He was probably surprised to find that few players had purchased Legion skills in recent days. Indeed, Legion skills are so important that players wouldn't buy them so easily. Swallowing his curse, Zhao Yi clicked to purchase 100 steps to target for 2 million points. This increased the accuracy of his archers by 10% at the primary level, similar to unerring the target. After purchasing 100 steps to target, the price of Legion skills doubled again. Zhao Yi could still purchase it for 1 million or 2 million points, but 4 million was too expensive, so he gave up. It seemed that from now on, he would have to open treasure chests to acquire Legion skills. However, since the price doubled with each Legion skill purchased, Zhao Yi's regrets were somewhat alleviated. After learning both Legion skills that boosted marksman, Zhao Yi took a few deep breaths, dismissing his worries and continuing to look at his card pack to ponder today's recruitment. Today's recruitment wouldn't require points, only recruitment scrolls. Even so, he couldn't use all the scrolls in the card pack, as there were still scrolls like the 1000 Civilian Recruitment Scroll, and the 100 First Class Heavy Cavalry Recruitment Scroll. Because Zhao Yi's own combat class had been promoted to the 3rd tier, there was a chance that the undead attacking tonight would include the 4th tier. If not, the proportion of the 3rd tier would increase, and the territory needed more 3rd tier undead. Therefore, this recruitment campaign prioritizes quality over quantity, focusing on recruiting Tier 3, Tier 2, and Tier 1 professionals. A few Tier 0 professionals are fine, and talented professionals should also be recruited. 3-star Tier 3 Nature Mage Recruitment Scroll, 3-star Tier 2 Shield Warrior Recruitment Scroll 3, 3-star Assassin Recruitment Scroll, 3-star Cavalry Archer Recruitment Scroll, 3-star Priest Recruitment Scroll 3, 15-star Swordsman Recruitment Scrolls, 4-star Archer Recruitment Scrolls. Just 3-star talented professionals alone can recruit 6, one of them is a Tier 3 Nature Mage. Even more Tier 2 professionals are available. Over the past 2 days, I've opened 18 gold treasure chests, obtaining a large number of Tier 2 recruitment scrolls. Using all of them, I can recruit nearly 100. There are also, 1st-level Alchemist Recruitment Scrolls, and 2nd-level Alchemist Recruitment Scrolls too. Oh, and don't forget, 2nd-level Pegasus 15. With these, the territory can form air cavalry, making reconnaissance and information transmission much more convenient. After taking all the necessary recruitment scrolls from his card pack, Zhao Yi headed towards the teleportation array. The officials and clerks responsible for guiding the personnel had already gathered, waiting for the new recruits to emerge. Recruitment began, and the first to emerge were Patrick, a 3-star 3rd-level Nature Mage, Lori, a 2-star 2nd-level Command Shield Warrior, Isaac, a 3-star 2nd-level Shield Warrior, 2-star Command, Quedley, a 3-star 2nd-level Shield Warrior, 2-star Command, Biffy, a 3-star 0-level Assassin, Munster, a 3-star 0-level Archer, and Shales, a 1st-level Alchemist, along with their families. Zhao Yi accepted their pledge of allegiance and allowed the officials to lead the way to their new home. Among them, Lowry, a dual 3-star, 2nd-level Domination Shield Warrior, held Zhao Yi's greatest attention. Name, Lowry, gender, male, age 31, occupation, level 20 Shield Warrior, talents, 3-star Shield Warrior 3-star Domination, skills, Shield Attack, Shield Guard, Charge, Brute Force, Iron Wall, Legion Skill, Loyalty. 80, with his 3-star Domination talent, Lowry, like Elliot, possesses a Legion skill, the primary Iron Wall, which increases physical defense by 5% and magic defense by 5%. Like Elliot, who had just joined, Zhao Yi intended to appoint Lowry as his staff officer. After a period of service, he could arrange for a more prestigious position, such as garrison commander of a newly built town. Recruitment continued unabated, and the teleportation array continued to light up. Nearly 100 2nd-level professionals, nearly 200 1st-level professionals, and dozens of 0-level professionals emerged from the teleportation array along with their families. Recruitment concluded. Zhao Yi had recruited a total of 327 professionals, adding 327 new families to the territory, bringing the total population to 30,173, surpassing the 30,000 mark. After the recruitment was complete, Zhao Yi immediately returned to the Lord's mansion. Construction on the new mansion would resume once the Earth Mages had rested. For the time being, Zhao Yi remained in the old mansion, where he had lived for over 30 days. Entering the mansion, Zhao Yi eagerly took out the Dragon Knight class change scroll, and opened it. The next moment, a rainbow of light enveloped Zhao Yi's entire body, and an intense sense of comfort instantly spread throughout him, nearly causing him to cry out in pleasure. Simultaneously, new memories emerged in his mind, relating to the Dragon Knight's skills and fighting key techniques. After about 3 minutes, as the rainbow light slowly dissipated, so did the sense of comfort. The class change was complete, and Zhao Yi felt a significant increase in the power within him. Chapter 121 Melissa. When the colorful light completely dissipated, the system panel automatically emerged. Zhao Yi looked closely. Another card draw. He was familiar with it, except this time it was the Dragon Knight's companion, the dragon. There weren't many cards on the screen, only 16. Zhao Yi focused his attention, and just like looking at cards in a treasure chest, he could see the dragons behind them. The first card was a 4-star male fire dragon, the second was a 4-star female gold dragon, and the third was a 5-star male blue dragon. After reviewing the 16 cards, Zhao Yi was filled with admiration. They were indeed the second most powerful race on the Origin continent, second only to the human race. The human race was vast and reproduced rapidly, typically producing 5 generations every 100 years, and sometimes as many as 6. The average human talent level was very low, yet thanks to their large population, they had produced many powerful individuals. Unlike the human race, which relied on numbers, the dragon race relied on quality. Dragons are born at level 1, generally possessing 4-star talents, capable of growing to level 7. A small number possess 5-star talents, reaching the level of legendary 9th-level dragons. Only a very few, though inferior, possess 3-star talents. The dragon's cultivation methods are unique. Sleep is equivalent to cultivation, and they can awaken from sleep for days, dozens, hundreds, or even years or decades, reaching a new level upon awakening. Active cultivation accelerates their advancement. However, most dragons are lazy and prefer to cultivate through sleep. One major reason for this is that dragons generally have a lifespan 3 times that of humans of the same level, making them a renowned long-lived race on the Origin continent. While legendary human warriors typically live around 1,000 years, legendary dragons can reach as high as 3,000. Dragon sorcerers with dragon bloodlines also significantly outlive their human counterparts. Although few in number, the dragons, with their superior talents and long lifespans, possess a sufficient number of powerful individuals. After humans became the dominant race of the Origin continent and conquered nearly all other races, only the dragons remained unconquered. Given the collective strength of the human race, annihilating the dragon race is no problem. The key is that the human race is divided into large and small factions. Any attempt to conquer the dragon race would result in the loss of numerous human warriors, leading to failure. Furthermore, the sleepy dragons have no intention of conquering the Origin continent, and most of them remain on Dragon Island. Unfortunately, they were severely damaged by the undead horde during the Plague of the Undead. Of the 16 cards, there is only 1 3-star dragon, 11 4-star dragons, and 4 5-star dragons. Zhao Yi naturally chose the 5-star dragon. These 4 5-star dragons are the blue dragon, male, the white dragon, female, the emerald dragon, male, and the silver dragon, female. Faced with a choice of a partner or a mate, Zhao Yi chose the latter without hesitation. Eliminating the 2 male dragons, he remained with the white dragon, the disgrace of the dragon race, and the elegant and kind silver dragon. Zhao Yi clicked on the card representing the silver dragon. As the card flipped over, a red light pierced Zhao Yi's brow. And a mysterious pattern appeared on his forehead, which disappeared after a few seconds. The moment a mysterious pattern appeared on his forehead, Zhao Yi's mind shifted to new understanding. These mysterious patterns represented a contract. Dragon riders and their dragon companions all sign contracts, often simply equal ones. Above equal contracts, there are time-limited contracts, slavery contracts, and even life-sharing contracts. A life-sharing contract is the highest level of contract between a dragon rider and a dragon. A dragon rider, whose lifespan is only 1/3 that of a dragon of the same rank, shares more of the dragon's lifespan, but the dragon's lifespan decreases as a result. Regardless of who is injured, the dragon rider and dragon share the damage. If the damage is too much, both will die. Therefore, a life-sharing contract is also known as a coexisting, shared death contract. Humans, with their short lifespans, are generally willing to sign a life-sharing contract, while dragons are very reluctant. Zhao Yi and his dragon companion, a dragon he had never met, signed a life-sharing contract of the highest level. He could sense a slight increase in his own vitality. Because of the life-sharing contract, the next moment, Zhao Yi sensed the other party appearing within Zhao City, quite close by, likely from the teleportation array, heading directly for the city lord's mansion. Zhao Yi walked into the courtyard. Mere seconds later, a silver dragon girl with silver hair and eyes, skin as white as snow, and clad in light silver armor descended from the sky, her target precisely Zhao Yi. This girl seems quite lively. Zhao Yi, now a dragon knight, extended his arms to greet the silver dragon girl. The two embraced, and Zhao Yi was knocked back several steps before coming to a stop. Fortunately, it wasn't a silver dragon in its true form, and the silver dragon girl didn't intend to injure her contractor immediately upon meeting her, so she cast Feather Fall on herself. Held in Zhao Yi's arms, the dragon girl, unfettered by shyness, sniffed Zhao Yi's scent several times before raising her head and asking, "Are you my contractor?" The silver dragon girl's words were resolute. Because of the bond of the contract, it was impossible for her to mistake someone. Zhao Yi, clad in leather armor, felt the girl's slight chill, as well as the deep connection forged by their contract. He smiled and replied, "Hello, my name is Zhao Yi. I'll look forward to your guidance. My name is Melissa. I also look forward to your guidance. As my contractor, you must prepare plenty of gold coins, beautiful gems, and delicious food. If you don't, I'll be angry." As she spoke, the silver dragon girl named Melissa waved her small fist. Though seemingly insignificant, a single punch was enough to instantly kill a level 3 shield warrior, known for its superior defense. The first half of Melissa's words were fine, but the second half brought a frown to Zhao Yi's forehead. As expected of a dragon with a fondness for gold, silver, and jewelry. However, as Melissa's closest companion, Zhao Yi would do his best to meet all of her requests, even those for gold and gems. Gold coins might be out of reach for ordinary people, but for Zhao Yi, a man with a lavish budget, it wouldn't be long before he could easily use them to make a bed for Melissa's true form. Gems. Ordinary gems are expensive for ordinary people, but Zhao Yi has no problem buying them in bulk. Only those special gems related to magic are relatively expensive. "Okay, whatever you want, as long as I can, I'll give it to you," Zhao Yi said dotingly. "You said it, but if you break your promise, I'll never talk to you again." With that, the silver dragon girl left Zhao Yi's embrace, took his hand, and walked towards the gate of the Lord's mansion. "This is my first time in the human world, Zhao Yi, show me around." Zhao Yi didn't refuse, allowing the silver dragon girl to lead him out of the Lord's mansion. After the battles of the past 2 days, Zhao Yi planned to rest for the morning after his job change. However, after the job change, his physical and mental fatigue had subsided, and he could use this time to spend time with Melissa. As they walked, Zhao Yi opened the system panel to check Melissa's attributes: name, Melissa; gender, female; mother; age, 42; race, level 30 silver dragon; ice, talent, 5-star; skills, breath, transform, fly, feather fall, water mist, ice shield, ice wall, ice arrow; loyalty, 100, constant. A dragon's 42 years are equivalent to humans' 14. Among dragons, Melissa isn't yet an adult, but among humans, she's already middle-aged and seems capable of doing something. Zhao Yi was most surprised by Melissa's skill list. With over 10 skills, she's worthy of a 5-star dragon. Furthermore, it seems like things like grabbing and tail wagging don't even count as skills. In D&D, the silver dragon is a cold type, while in the novel, it's an ice type. Chapter 122 Attribute Change. Zhao Yi, held captive by Melissa, was unaware that his class change to Dragon Knight had sparked widespread discussion on the forums. Before the change, Zhao Yi's combat class rank was ranked first on both the general class ranking and the marksman class ranking. Although Zhao Yi hid his information, his class couldn't be hidden, and players, through his marksman class, knew the top spot on both rankings was the same person. With Zhao Yi's change to Dragon Knight, the top spots on both rankings suddenly vanished. Zhao Yi vanished completely from the marksman class ranking, but not from the general class ranking. His ranking had merely dropped. Soon, players noticed a new Dragon Knight on the general class ranking, speculating that this was the player who previously topped the marksman class and had switched to Dragon Knight. Anyone familiar with the Origin continent knew that Dragon Knight was a high-end class, and even those who didn't know would share information on the forums. Previously, a few players had switched to special classes, roughly the same rank as ice mages, magic archers, berserkers, and magic swordsmen, making them relatively common among special classes. At the same level, skilled players of ordinary classes can defeat less skilled players of special classes. But the Dragon Knight is different. It's a high-end class, and even among special classes, it's unique. Even with less skill, it can still crush opponents with sheer strength. The player who hid their information to be number 1 on the level rankings must be a Lord player, and their territory is very powerful, making them a top player in the territory rankings. Some players even linked him to Lucky Sun 413. After all, this player has been hiding information. And most importantly, the Dragon Knight can ride a dragon. It's unknown if the player who switched to the Dragon Knight class has a dragon, whether the Dragon Knight player is male or female, and whether the dragon is male or female. Gradually, the topic of discussion began to veer off course. Zhao Yi, being pulled by Melissa, glanced at Melissa's attributes, then opened Personal, and found that his own attribute list had changed significantly as well. Name, Zhao Yi, lifespan, 24/391, occupation, 3rd class Earl level 30 Dragon Knight, 38%, attributes, strength 133, constitution 133, agility 70, wisdom 69, free attribute points, 63, charm, 13, command, 12/897, active skills, charge, heavy stab, continuous stab, dragon spear, flying slash, unparalleled, rapid fire, multi-arrow volley, tracking arrow, legion skills, no target strike, immovable as a mountain, wind, forest, fire, exhilaration, magical radiance, left and right shooting, 100 steps through the arrow, equipment. Under normal circumstances, the lifespan of a 3rd level professional should be around 200. Zhao Yi's lifespan reaches 391, -24. If his occupational rank does not increase, he can still live for 367 years. Because of the life-sharing contract, Melissa also has 367 years of life left. The combat class changed from Archer to Dragon Knight, but the level seems to have dropped, likely due to the class change. Fortunately, it didn't drop to level 29, which would have required another level 3 advancement stone. The 4 attributes changed significantly. Normally, at level 0, each level increases 1 in each of the 4 attributes, plus 1 in the free attribute. At level 1, each level increases 2 in each of the 4 attributes, plus 2 in the free attribute. At level 2, each level increases 3 in each of the 4 attributes, plus 3 in the free attribute. At level 3, each level increases 4 in each of the 4 attributes, plus 4 in the free attribute. The initial thinking attributes were 7, 7, 7, and 6, respectively. The disparity between strength and constitution, and agility and wisdom, is now significant. A simple calculation shows that the points gained in strength and constitution doubled with each level up. As expected of the Dragon Knight class, which is nearly invincible at its level, the skill changes aren't the main factor. The increased stats with each level are what's truly powerful. The free attribute points remain unchanged, so Zhao Yi plans to add 1 to wisdom and split the rest equally between strength and constitution. His charisma increased as well. It seemed that the original 1-point increase per level had now increased to 2. I'd seen Melissa have over 10 skills before, and I now had over 10 too. Many of the new skills were knight skills. After all, Dragon Knights were also knights. Knights, or heavy cavalry, typically wield lances. Dragon Knights also wield lances, known as dragon lances. These lances are longer and heavier than those of heavy cavalry, and possess immense power. However, Zhao Yi didn't have a dragon lance yet. Such weapons required custom-made and were expensive. For now, Zhao Yi felt he would primarily rely on bows, crossbows, and magic lances, or longswords. Dragon Knight's primary weapons were dragon lances, followed by longswords and crossbows, and related skills could be learned. In Zhao City, the streets were mostly filled with non-professionals bustling about. Seeing the Lord walking hand in hand with a silver-haired, silver-eyed girl, they were curious, but didn't dare to look. When the Lord approached, they all stopped and saluted, a sign of respect. Only 33 days had passed since Xiaocheng had grown from a small, 3rd-level village to a population of nearly 20,000, though its development was rather distorted. While there were various shops within the city, the business was still in its infancy, far from comparable to that of indigenous cities of the same level. Furthermore, since the disaster had just passed, most professionals had gone home to rest, leaving only non-professionals hurrying about the streets. Zhao Yi didn't see much to see, but the silver dragon girl was fascinated, often dragging him into a shop to look around. If she saw a food stall, she'd try it. However, the food stalls in Zhaocheng were mostly bakeries, lacking anything tasty, which disappointed Melissa. After that, she continued to drag Zhao Yi around. After all, this was Melissa's first time in the human world, and she was deeply curious about everything about Zhaocheng, asking him questions. Zhao Yi remained patient, answering all of Melissa's questions. Man and dragon were partners, comrades in arms. Even with a life-sharing contract, Zhao Yi needed to deepen their bond. While accompanying Melissa, Zhao Yi pondered what he needed to do this afternoon. It seemed that only one important task remained, placing the small demiplane he'd obtained from the treasure chest this morning within Zhaocheng. Demiplanes were incredibly valuable on the Origin continent. Even the least valuable small demiplanes obtained from crystal cards were far more valuable than a piece of diamond-tier equipment. He still didn't know the exact size of the small demiplane he'd obtained. It would be great if he could continue drawing cards, so he could select the best. Zhao Yi felt that was unlikely. For him, a small demiplane of 100 square kilometers would be adequate. Whether it had any specialties wasn't important, what mattered most was having ample land for agricultural cultivation. Developing agriculture and raising poultry and livestock were crucial for a territory striving for food self-sufficiency. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story, and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 123 Silver Dragon Cultivation. Because the demiplane's value couldn't be made known to the indigenous people outside the territory, as it would almost certainly attract indigenous forces to seize it, and in the process, murder would be the target. Fortunately, the residents of Zhao Yi's territory were all indigenous people with a loyalty rating of over 80, and there were no other players. All they had to do was place the entrance to the demiplane in a relatively secluded area of Zhao City. It couldn't be too hidden, as a significant number of people would need to be transported into the demiplane. Zhao Yi and Melissa wandered around Zhao City for a good half day before returning to the Lord's mansion for lunch. Faced with a fairly sumptuous meal, Melissa, still in her human form, devoured each plate with incredible speed. Zhao Yi barely ate much of the food, it was all gone. Seeing Melissa wiping her mouth with an unsatisfied look, Zhao Yi was speechless. Raising a dragon was no small feat. With a new Lord's mansion completed, he would definitely need to hire more chefs. After lunch, Zhao Yi didn't rest, intending to deliver the 3 advancement stones to Joanna, Elliot, and Gary. Joanna and Elliot both had 3-star talents, while Gary only had a 2-star talent. However, as a primary marksman in combat, Gary's leveling speed was exceptionally fast, reaching the 2nd level of perfection in the 3rd place. The Silver Dragon girl was brimming with energy, showing no desire to rest. Wherever Zhao Yi went, she followed him, so Zhao Yi had no choice but to travel with Melissa. Based on proximity, the first stop was the Mage Tower. Melissa had already been there that morning, so upon entering, she simply glanced around, no longer surprised. Zhao Yi didn't go straight upstairs, but first asked the Tower Spirit about Joanna's condition. Tower Spirit, has Joanna finished her rest, Master? Miss Joanna has finished her rest and is currently practicing. If she was resting, it wouldn't be appropriate to disturb her now, but if she was practicing, it was okay to interrupt. Zhao Yi led Melissa up to the 5th floor of the Mage Tower and gently knocked on the door. Joanna, still in her practice, was startled awake by the knock. The Tower Spirit hadn't warned her beforehand, so she figured it must be the Lord's arrival. She hurriedly donned her robes and walked towards the door, straightening her clothes as she went. Only when she was almost dressed did she open the door. Lord, as soon as he finished the last word, Joanna's gaze was drawn to the silver-haired, silver-eyed girl beside Zhao Yi. Who is she? Why is she here with the Lord? Joanna's mind raced with questions. Melissa happened to be looking in her direction, and their eyes met. The next moment, Melissa smiled and said, Human, hello, human. Joanna's mind was filled with even more questions. Zhao Yi then introduced her, Joanna. This is my closest companion, Silver Dragon Melissa. With Zhao Yi's introduction, Joanna's questions faded, but her pretty face was filled with surprise. Silver Dragon, the Lord has become a dragon rider. Zhao Yi ignored Joanna's surprise and handed her a level 3 advancement stone, saying, "Joanna, the territory is in urgent need of level 3 combat power. This level 3 advancement stone is for you." Joanna was so shocked by the silver dragon and Zhao Yi's new profession that she was 2 seconds slow to accept the advancement stone. "Joanna, advance first. Meet in the northwest area of the city in 2 hours. I've obtained a demiplane that we'll need to explore later." Zhao Yi then left with Melissa, who waved to Joanna. Watching Zhao Yi and Melissa's retreating figures, Joanna couldn't help but be amazed. The silver dragon girl, Melissa, had appeared, the Lord had become a dragon rider, and there was a demiplane worth as much as the Mage Tower. The territory had become even more powerful, but Joanna felt a sense of loss. After leaving the Mage Tower, Zhao Yi delivered the remaining 2 level 3 advancement stones to Elliot and Gary. Because of their importance, Zhao Yi personally delivered them. He then instructed others to inform them about gathering people to explore the demiplane. Since the demiplane had been opened from a treasure chest, the possibility of danger was very low. However, Zhao Yi still needed to gather all level 3 professionals in the territory, as well as at least 30 level 2 professionals and the Earth Mage who moonlighted as a prospector. With some time before exploring the demiplane, Zhao Yi took Melissa to the market, preparing to add a new skill, Eagle Eye. Although he had already changed his class to Dragon Knight, Zhao Yi hadn't given up archery. Furthermore, Eagle Eye was a significant aid in commanding battles, so learning it was a must. Level 3 Eagle Eye and Level 4 Demon Breaking Arrow were both crucial skills for the archer class. At the market, Zhao Yi instructed Benson and Gino to purchase skill books. He needed Eagle Eye, and Joanna and Elliot also needed level 3 skills to advance to level 3. Gary, on the other hand, didn't need level 3 skills for the time being. These were common skills, and reaching level 3 commanded a high price. However, the territory wasn't short of money anymore. 20 treasure chests had been opened yesterday and this morning, offering a good amount of equipment for sale. He was wearing the platinum leather armor for now. As a Dragon Knight, he needed armor with higher defense in battle. Light armor was acceptable for normal use. Wearing no armor wasted a Dragon Knight's strength and stamina. Items he could sell included platinum daggers and other gold equipment that wasn't currently needed in the territory. Black iron, bronze, silver, and gold, translated numerically as Tier 1, Tier 2, Tier 3, and Tier 4, are considered. Tier 4 professionals only purchase gold equipment if they have sufficient financial resources. Many Tier 4 professionals with limited resources may not even be able to afford a full set of silver equipment. For example, Tier 0 archers and Tier 0 swordsmen, their initial equipment, bamboo bows and iron swords, don't even reach black iron rank, they are just ordinary equipment. Currently, Zhao Yi's highest Tier 3 professionals are considered to be in Tier 3. Granting gold equipment to Tier 3 professionals is acceptable, but to grant platinum equipment, they must have performed a significant feat of saving at least a subordinate village. Of course, this is only relative. A subordinate village with a population of at least 1,200 people is incredibly important to Zhao Yi and is worth a piece of platinum equipment. For other lords, such a subordinate village might not even be worth a single piece of gold equipment. After all, the village only contains a few Tier 1 professionals, a little over 100 cannon fodder Tier 0 professionals, and the remaining 1,000 or so are non-professionals. Even worse than cannon fodder. Selling platinum equipment and unused gold equipment will generate enough money for the territory. In contrast, Zhao Yi was reluctant to use points to purchase items and then sell them for cash. He believed points were best used to recruit personnel. Once again at the market, Melissa's eyes lit up, for this represented money. Looking at the glittering displays on the screen, Melissa wanted them all. Zhao Yi thought for a moment, then instructed Benson to take out 1,000 low-grade magic crystals. He would exchange 500 of them for gold coins, and use the remaining 500 to purchase ordinary yet beautiful gems. With Zhao Yi's financial resources, he could afford to buy more at once, but he worried that the dragon's appetite would never be satisfied. He wouldn't give Melissa all the items worth 1,000 low-grade magic crystals at once. He would build up slowly, starting small. As his territory grew, Zhao Yi's wealth would increase rapidly. Chapter 124 Exploring the Demi-Plane. An hour later, Zhao Yi and Melissa arrived ahead of everyone else in the northwest area of Xiaocheng. They chose a relatively secluded open space, intending to place the demiplane entrance there. Once the demiplane entrance was secured, They mobilized Earth mages to surround it with Earth walls, leaving only one entrance and exit. They used the crystal card, small demiplane. Seconds later, a crystal ball teleported to Zhao Yi, containing the small demiplane he had obtained. The crystal ball was incredibly beautiful, and Melissa's dragon eyes fixed on it, a desire to possess it for herself. Zhao Yi picked it up, and the moment his hand touched it, information entered his mind, including the method for placing the demiplane. The crystal ball was a disposable space-time item, sealing a demiplane of nearly 400 square kilometers. Touching the crystal ball allowed him to roughly observe the demiplane through his mental power. The small area, nearly 400 square kilometers, contained mountains, water, forests, grasslands, and some common animals, with the possibility of fish and shrimp in the water. On the surface, this demiplane appears to be a very ordinary low-magic demiplane, suitable for agriculture and animal husbandry. The only thing left to explore is the demiplane's underground conditions, perhaps for the existence of some common mineral deposits. Therefore, exploring the demiplane wouldn't require a large number of personnel, allowing it to be treated as a short journey. A third-class earldom covers only 500 square kilometers, while the demiplane in hand covers nearly 400 square kilometers. More importantly, while most of the land within the third-class earldom is infested with the aura of death, all the land within the demiplane is usable. Zhao Yi wasn't disappointed by the small demiplane in the crystal ball. Instead, he studied it with great interest. This ordinary demiplane is exactly what the demiplane needs most. 3 to 4 towns and 15 to 20 villages can be established within the demiplane, maximizing the utilization of all the land within the demiplane. There are no restrictions on establishing villages, towns, or even cities within the demiplane. The detailed plan will be discussed with Ceci and others after the demiplane is fully explored. Zhao Yi didn't have to wait long. Elliot, Joanna, Ignaz, and the others arrived in the northwest area of Zhao City before the appointed time. Upon seeing Zhao Yi, they immediately approached. Only Elliot, Joanna, and Gary were seeing Melissa for the second time. The others were seeing her for the first time. Although curious about the silver-haired, silver-eyed girl accompanying the Lord, as subordinates, they didn't ask questions. Many were puzzled. The girl's aura seemed powerful, comparable to that of a Tier 3 professional. Her silver hair and silver eyes seemed to stem from some bloodline. They couldn't imagine Melissa being a silver dragon. Once everyone had arrived, Zhao Yi used his mental power to activate the crystal ball. At the chosen location, a spatial portal appeared out of thin air. Starting as small as a pinhead, it gradually expanded under Zhao Yi's control until it reached a height of 4 meters and a width of 8 meters before stopping. As the spatial portal was secured, the crystal ball in Zhao Yi's hand shattered, and the demiplane sealed within it vanished. Of all those present, only the space mage Ignaz could sense that the demiplane had entered another dimension. Entering the portal would allow entry into the demiplane. Watching her beloved crystal ball shatter, Melissa felt her heart shatter as well, her small hands clutching Zhao Yi's clothes tightly. Fortunately, Zhao Yi was wearing platinum leather armor, otherwise, with Melissa's strength, even silver-tier equipment would likely be damaged. Let's go in and take a look. As Zhao Yi finished speaking, Elliot, Gary, and the others all tried to stop him. While the possibility of danger in this demiplane was minimal, the Lord couldn't risk his life. He had to let others explore first to ensure there was no danger before he could enter. Faced with his men's resistance, Zhao Yi had no choice but to order a level 2 shield warrior to enter the demiplane through the portal first. Hanks, a bold level 2 shield warrior who always liked to be the first to act, volunteered and was the first to enter the portal. A space gate is different from a teleportation array. Using a teleportation array for the first time can cause dizziness for those with weak abilities. A space gate is simply a door. Stepping through it takes you to the other side. Hanks, having just entered the other side of the space gate, was so excited by the scene before him that he almost cried. The scene that had been everywhere before the plague of the undead was no longer visible with the onset of the undead. A false sun hung in the sky, its warm rays illuminating the ground with greenery, dotted with clusters of flowers, and birds, butterflies, and bees fluttered everywhere. Such scenes no longer existed on the origin continent, but they were plentiful in the demiplanes. Hanks had never entered a demiplane before. It's no surprise that Hanks was thrilled to see this familiar yet strange scene again after so many years. In his excitement, Hanks never forgot his mission. Just when those on the other side thought he was in trouble, he finally emerged from the space gate. Seeing Hanks's excited face, many people present speculated about why he had taken a few seconds to return. Lord, there's nothing wrong on the other side of the gate. There, I feel like I've returned to time before the scourge of the undead. After confirming the other side of the special portal was clear, Zhao Yi was about to enter the demi-plane. 5 level 2 shield warriors led the way, followed closely by Gary, Lori, Elliot, Joanna, Ignaz, and others, accompanying Zhao Yi and Melissa through the special portal. The others followed behind. Entering the demi-plane and seeing the scene before them, many, like Hanks, were filled with emotion. The sight brought back memories, reminiscing about the days before the scourge of the undead. Whether professional or civilian families, the scourge of the undead had a profound impact on the origin continent, leaving no one immune. The once lush land was now barren, and birds had vanished. Everyone was forced to huddle in cities, and the professionals had to battle the invading undead nightly. If only the scourge of the undead hadn't arrived. Lost things are always the most precious. I wish my family could move here. Zhao Yi and Melissa were probably the only ones who had little experience with the demi-plane. Zhao Yi had only been in the game world for 30 days, while Melissa had previously lived in the Dragon Clan's massive demi-plane, where such sights were commonplace. Zhao Yi gave everyone a moment to gather their emotions before continuing his exploration. However, Melissa tugged at Zhao Yi's clothes, seeming to disagree. Zhao Yi, do you want to go up to the sky? Zhao Yi's eyes lit up at Melissa's words. Melissa actually offered to let him ride. It was something he couldn't refuse, so Zhao Yi readily agreed. Move aside and make some room. With the exception of Joanna, the others, unaware of what was about to happen, simply obeyed the Lord's orders and stepped aside to make room. Only Joanna moved a little further away. Chapter 125 Riding a Dragon. As Zhao Yi made some room, Melissa began to transform from human to dragon form. Horns sprouted from her head, her neck, limbs, and legs thickened, and bat-like wings sprouted from her back. Her body grew larger, and a tail appeared behind her. Silver scales covered her body. Seeing Melissa's transformation, everyone realized the girl accompanying the Lord today was not human. Melissa's transformation hadn't yet concluded, and it was unclear what her true form was. It seemed she might be some sub-dragon. Since her birth, Melissa had used the transformation technique only a handful of times and wasn't very proficient. If she were skilled, transforming from dragon to human or vice versa would be a snap, but now it took several seconds. It's also important to note that the transformation technique alters not only the appearance but also the internal structure. In her girl form, Melissa was practically indistinguishable from a human. When Melissa's transformation was complete, transforming from a human into a silver dragon 8 meters long, 2 meters tall, with a wingspan approaching 10 meters, Zhao Yi's men were stunned. What is this? It's a real dragon. None of the professionals had ever encountered a true dragon before, but having heard descriptions of them and even seen pictures of them, even the blind could tell the creature before them was a real dragon. How could the Lord possess a real dragon? Had the Lord become a dragon rider, and this silver dragon was his mount? The word mount was a mere thought, never spoken aloud. Even the dragon riders themselves couldn't call their companions mounts. Mount was a grave insult to a dragon. Regardless, with the Lord becoming a dragon rider, and this demiplane under their leadership, the territory held a brighter future, and their loyalty soared. Zhao Yi, unaware of his professional's thoughts, carefully examined Melissa in her silver dragon form and touched the dragon's silver scales. They were cold, sharp, smooth, metallic, and incredibly strong. What are you waiting for? Get on board. The silver dragon opened its mouth, but a young woman's voice emanated. The dragon crouched low to the ground. Zhao Yi found a suitable spot on its body and mounted it directly. After atop the dragon, Zhao Yi was stunned. While ordinary knights' mounts had reins, his own didn't. He wondered if he would be thrown from the dragon. Zhao Yi quickly dismissed the thought. As a level 3 dragon rider, how could he possibly be thrown from a dragon? Woohoo! Take off, the girl shouted, flapping her wings and simultaneously casting a flight spell on herself. Dragons don't fly solely on wings, that would be exhausting. In a moment, the silver dragon, carrying Zhao Yi, soared into the sky. Those on the ground watched as the man and dragon departed, each staring at the other, unsure what to say. No one in this demiplane can threaten our Lord. Let's continue on. We can treat this exploration like an outing, Elliot said with a smile, and the others agreed. In the air, Zhao Yi squeezed his legs together, fear and heedful. As Melissa carried him around the demiplane for a few laps, Zhao Yi quickly got used to it. While chatting with Melissa, he glanced down at the demiplane surface. Zhao Yi, am I flying fast? Fast, very fast. Zhao Yi, am I flying high? High, very high. Zhao Yi's praise brightened the silver dragon girl's mood. Even the sadness she'd felt over the shattered crystal ball vanishing without a trace. Melissa led the first few laps, but gradually, Zhao Yi took over. Melissa followed his command, flying to various locations across the demiplane. Zhao Yi carefully observed the situation on the ground, gradually forming some plans for the demiplane's development. The territory's first air cavalry unit was being formed. Once complete, it could be deployed to the demiplane to map its terrain from the sky, facilitating the implementation of the demiplane's development plans. Melissa carried Zhao Yi in circles in the sky for over an hour. Melissa wasn't tired yet, her voice brimming with excitement, but Zhao Yi was ready to end the flight. He directed Melissa to descend towards where Elliot, Joanna, and the others were. They were now in the center of the demiplane, several of them feasting on wild fruits. The silver dragon landed, and Zhao Yi dismounted. Melissa also began to transforming from a silver dragon into a human girl. Lord, Miss Melissa, the professionals greeted Zhao Yi and Melissa. Melissa's status as a true dragon commanded respect from the professionals. Have you discovered anything? Zhao Yi asked. Indeed, we have. Yalavi has discovered a metal vein, a coexisting gold, silver, and copper ore. The grade is relatively high, making it suitable for mining. We need to continue exploring the exact reserves, Elliot reported. As an Earth mage and part-time prospector, Yalavi's primary mission in the demiplane was to search for mineral veins. Unexpectedly, he actually found one. It wasn't a magical vein, but rather a gold, silver, and copper ore, a surprising discovery nonetheless. Human nations on the origin continent had few restrictions on the production of gold, silver, and copper coins. Commoners certainly couldn't, while nobles could freely create metal currency. At most, there were standards for metal currency, requiring all nations to produce the same standard for ease of use. The lack of restrictions on metal currency stemmed primarily from the existence of professionals. Magic crystals, used as a form of currency for professional transactions, were clearly more important than metal currency. Commoners primarily used copper and silver coins, while lower-level professionals primarily used silver and gold. The discovery of a gold, silver, and copper ore within the demiplane would significantly aid the development of the territory. Furthermore, gold, silver, and copper could be used to craft jewelry and tableware, items that commoners couldn't afford. However, given the current ratio of commoners to professional households in the territory, demand for silver and copper wares was still high. By this time, the first exploration of the demiplane was almost over, and the group headed towards the location of the spatial gate. Zhao Yi didn't let Melissa fly him again, intending to walk around the land himself. Compared to the vast expanses of the outside world tainted by the ore of death, the demiplane's lands resembled the original state of the origin continent. Walking on such lands felt completely different. Leaving Zhaocheng, stepping on the land infested with the ore of death, there was a constant sense of oppression that refused to dissipate. Walking on the land of the demiplane, breathing in the fresh air, there was no oppression, only relaxation. Walking more often, one could relax both physically and mentally. Consider taking a trip to the demiplane during your downtime. It's confirmed. The book will be available at midnight on December 1st. I hope everyone will visit Kidian to support the author. With 12,000 collections, as long as you get over 600 first orders, the author will work hard to update the book frequently. Furthermore, the updated chapters will be released together every day, so you don't have to read them separately. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.